everybody. Welcome to the Mike Missanelli Show. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Let's plunge right into the dirt pile. It was a good win. They did what they were supposed to do. Oh, they didn't win by double digits like I thought they would or like I thought they should have. The defense played very well. Now, again, it was against an anemic Browns offense. I hate to put all these qualifiers in, but I have to. Indulge me. Cooper DeJean started a solid start back there. He was flummoxed and flim-flammed on a couple of plays, but he was solid as a rookie. Quinyon Mitchell the same. Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, very efficient. With a great quarterback rating yesterday and a few key throws. And, of course, the big one being the 40-yarder late to A.J. that clinched the game. But for most of this game, the Eagles looked very ordinary. I'm watching this game. The crowd's not into it. The crowd's agitated. And I tweet out during this game, did the Eagles look like a well-coached team to you? Just asking. As it turned out, they made plays in the end to win the game, which is all well and good. But that does not belie the fact that for most of the game, they were just a boring lot of an NFL team. Which brings me to the coach, as far as being a well-coached team. For the record, I am not a fan of Nick Sirianni. I think that if you have listened to me over the last few weeks, you know that I'm not a fan of Nick Sirianni. In fact, I don't even like him a little bit. But the issue really is not whether I like him. But the issue is whether he is an adequate enough coach to lead an NFL team to some kind of a lofty plateau. And to that, I think not. It is such low-hanging fruit. It's so obvious to rip into Sirianni for how he handled the aftermath of yesterday's win over the Browns. Taunting fans who gave him crap with an ear cup. What is he, 14 years old? And then he brings his kid as some sort of an emotional shield to the post-game press conference. It's weak, it's fake, it's insulting to the reporters in there who are supposed to do their job, which is to ask the tough questions to this coach related to the subject. And the tough questions were, the fans are really impatient with you, dude. How do you feel about that? He's got his kids out there. Now, does anyone out there believe that this Dennis the Menace can be a real leader of men, a real leader of an NFL football team? Look, the Eagles might be able to win 2 of their next 3 games, if not all 3. And maybe then people will be back on board with the team maybe thinking they could do something this year. But I'm just not feeling this team with this coach to do anything that remotely resembles a championship. Time's yours, Bill.
I don't know how to follow it up, Mike. I don't know how to follow that up. Look, let's start with the coach, because you're right. It's low-hanging fruit. We'll start with Nick Sirianni. Everybody knows I've defended him. Everybody knows I thought he deserved to come back. I can't defend his behavior yesterday. It's not becoming of a head coach in the NFL. When there are 32 NFL head coaches, it's one of the most coveted jobs. If you're a sports guy, it's one of the most coveted jobs in the world. There's supposed to be only 32 people who are worthy of that job. And Nick Sirianni's behavior yesterday is not worthy of a head coach in the NFL. And I had less of a problem, not saying I agreed with it, but I had less of a problem with him jawing back at fans who were probably chanting "Fire Nick" the whole game. I had less of a problem with that than I did with him bringing 3 kids to his post-game press conference in a Week 6 game against the Cleveland Browns that you barely won. It's unprofessional. It is unprofessional to do that. If you had just won the NFC Championship, you had just won the Super Bowl, and you want your kids to share in the joy, okay, that's a different scenario. But it's very unprofessional to bring your kids. I can't defend that, Mike. But I will say, as far as the game was concerned, I did think there were a lot more positives than negatives with the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. Yes, it wasn't the blowout as far as the score indicated that a lot of us wanted, especially me. I wanted to see a blowout. But when you really dive deep into the numbers, the Eagles played okay. They did pretty well. I know the Browns offense is terrible. Well, what else could the defense have done? They held them to 9 points. They came into this game with only 6 sacks in 4 games. They had 5 yesterday. They held them to 3 of 12 on third down. They held them to 244 total yards, which they had been averaging, giving up 366 coming in. So the defensive performance was great. And then you look at the offense. The Browns' defense has not been their problem. The Browns' defense is a pretty good defense. The offense put up 375 yards. They put up 256 passing yards on a defense that was a top 8 pass defense, giving up only 184. That's the most yards in the air that the Browns have given up all season. The Eagles did yesterday. So there were positives. No turnovers, as you mentioned. That's the first time in the last 9 regular season games that they haven't turned the ball over. 20 turnovers in their last 9 regular season games, 0 yesterday. So there was a lot of good. Cooper DeJean, Grant Calcaterra, they battled through injuries. But instead of us talking about the good today, we have to talk about the head coach. There's no excuse for it. There really isn't.
But I get it. You're Mr. Positive. I get it. And I understand they won the game. And I can't sit here and complain after a win when there were some efficient things. Do you get the impression that they're a very good team? Do you get the impression that they're a very well-coached team? Because most of that game was a slog against a very inferior opponent. Most of the game was a slog. And I don't care what the numbers say. People were impatient for a reason. They weren't seeing performance with that team. Defensively, yeah, but I mean, really, is it that difficult to defend the Cleveland Browns?
No, but what else could the defense have done for people to feel better?
But this is a team that hadn't converted a freaking third down all year.
And they didn't let them in the end zone. I mean, the defense didn't give up a touchdown yesterday.
I'm talking about being able to dominate a bad opponent, and they did not. They slogged through a whole game.
The blocked field goal for a touchdown changes everything. The game was not as close as the scoreboard indicated. It just wasn't. The Eagles dominated in every facet of that game outside of a blocked field goal for a touchdown. You take that away, this is not a close game. And it never felt like, I watched that entire game, it never felt like they were going to lose.
It's not a close game when you dominate a scoreboard. That's what's not a close game.
I get it, but did you ever watch in that game? Maybe you did. I never felt like there was a chance the Eagles lost that game.
I didn't think so either, but that doesn't mean it's impressive. I'm looking at a big picture here. I'm looking at how good is this team? Do they look like a really good team? Do they look like a well-coached team? And I don't come to a conclusion that yes on either point. I just don't. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm asking for too much. And a win is a win in the NFL. As the eloquent Mr. Sirianni said after the game that it's hard to win in the NFL. I get all that. I don't look at this team as a team that's any threat to do anything this year.
I understand the frustrations because a lot of people wanted this to be a blowout. But the defense, we all agree, there was nothing else the defense could have done that would have made you happy. They dominated the game. As far as offensively, the Cleveland Browns don't have a bad defense.
They were up 13-10 going into the fourth quarter.
And the Cleveland
they kicked a field goal in the third quarter.
The Cleveland Browns defense has not been that bad this season.
Stop it. They're making me crazy.
They are coming into this game. You're talking about a top 13 defense in terms of yards against, a top 8 defense in terms of passing yards. They had 14 sacks coming in. The Eagles let up 1 sack. That was without Jordan Mailata. They let up 1 sack, 0 turnovers. Yes, I understand we're upset with the coach. We're upset with his behavior. We're upset with what he did at the press conference. But when you look at this game, it wasn't as bad as some fans are acting like it was. It really wasn't that bad of a game. It was a win.
It's not a bad game if you just count the game. When you count beyond the game, what are they? This is what I'm asking you. Forget about let's focus on them beating the Browns, and the Browns were this and the Browns were that. Who cares what the Browns were? They stink. They're going to win 3 games the whole year.
They do stink. I don't know what this team is, and that is probably the problem. I think they're still trying to find themselves. But all offseason, I kept saying we got to be patient with this team. New coordinators on both sides of the football. They're going through a lot of change. But yet, we don't want to be patient because of the way last season ended. At the end of the day, you're sitting here, you're 3-2. They're still trying to find themselves. They've battled injury. You didn't have A.J. Brown for a couple games. You didn't have Lane Johnson. You didn't have Devontae Smith. And then in this game, you lose Darius Slay. You lose Jordan Mailata. You lose Dallas Goedert. We are ignoring some of the things they're overcoming because of our hatred for the coach.
Forget the hatred for the coach. I'm watching the freaking game. The coach didn't even come up in my brain until the end when he did this ridiculousness. I'm watching the game. I'm going, what am I seeing here with this team? What is this team? You mean to tell me as you're watching that first half, you were impressed? You said, oh, you know what, this is a good game? Were you saying that?
I want to see the offense come out to a quicker start. That's killing them in the first quarter. But
they haven't scored a point in the first quarter again.
And it's killing this team. It is. But
what were you seeing?
I saw a lot more good.
With?
There was a lot more good yesterday than bad. There was.
God. 610-632-0975 is how you get in. I need to hear from the people today. I really do. Let's look at the game, and then let's look at silliness, Mr. Silly, at the end. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back into this. The Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 The Fanatic. All right, let me focus on what I thought was the key. The Browns field goal did them no good at 20-13, right? But the defense forced that. So I will give them credit right there. They got to the 3-yard line and a couple false starts, and I'll give the crowd a little credit there as well. And they just completely self-destructed down there, and then they got pushed back to the 13 where they had to kick a field goal. But they had gotten to the 3, and I thought that your boy, Nolan Smith, made a big play down there, right?
Yeah, he had a sack yesterday. How about it? That's what I'm saying. There are positives,
and Isaiah
Mike.
Rodgers made the second down and goal, and Deshaun Watson was darting to the end zone, and they made a great play. To me, that was the play of the game. And Rodgers got hurt on the play, but Nolan Smith had good quickness to get to it. So I'll laud a couple of the things that I saw, especially the 40-yard pass at the end, which sealed the deal. It was gutsy, and it was a nice throw, and A.J. Brown being back is all good. But there was nothing that they came out of a bye week and punted on their first possession.
Well, Jalen started the game 0 for 5.
Uh-huh.
Not great. But then he finishes 16 of 20. 264, 2 touchdowns.
Okay, I get it. My point is, look at the slog that started out. This game started coming out of a bye against a bad team.
On offense.
Right, yes. I'm going, come on, what are you kidding me?
Yeah, on offense, they didn't look great in the first quarter, and it's been a problem. We know. We keep hearing it. No first quarter points all season. The only team in the NFL.
Punt. They started out punt.
You're not wrong. But there was.
I love when you say
because
you're not wrong, but
because I do think that in light of the way the last season ended, Eagles fans our vision is clouded. We can't see positives. It's just, well, they didn't score a point in the first quarter. This team's terrible. Mm-hmm. You look at the totality of yesterday. The offense did a lot of good things. The defense did great things yesterday. Yeah, it was the lowly Browns, but what else could they have done? They didn't let up a damn touchdown yesterday. They had 5 sacks. They almost matched their total for the entire season in yesterday's game. But all we want to talk about is the negative. And yes, there are things that need to be improved.
I don't always want to talk about the negative.
I'm talking about this game.
The negative presents itself like some big fat cherry pie that we dig into.
Now you got me hungry for pie. I'm not a cherry pie.
I got to play. I got to play Sirianni to start. That's all this thing. So he gets defensive. Speaking of your slow start, he gets defensive. Nick Sirianni 9, Ray, where he kind of shuts it down with a reporter's question. Here we go.
Because y'all are making a big deal about it. I mean, it's like, guys, we're going to figure it out. We're going to fix it. We've known how to score in the past. Like, we get it. You guys have a job to do, and you're going to fixate on one thing, and you're going to be like, oh, they haven't started fast, or they haven't turned the ball over. Like, we got it. Like, we're going to do everything we can do to fix it, and I don't want that to be in their heads. That's why I'm basically telling you guys, all right, we got it. We'll figure it out. And so sometimes you get things in your head, and you continue, and it kind of works there. But like the defense started their ass off. It was 10-0 to start the football game off, and the defense didn't let up a play, and so they played their ass off. So they started fast, right? And we'll get it figured out on offense. We will get it figured out on offense. Do you think that was funny?
Yeah, but that's down to the kid because you said ass, and that a kid. I'm tired of kids. Listen, if you're Steph Curry, you want to bring up your cute daughter after you win an NBA championship, I can tolerate it. I'm tired of the kids now at the press conference, and I'm even tired of that Liam thing. All right, I've had enough of it. All right, so the kid, like in an obvious situation where you know you're gonna get pressed. To bring your kids out there, to not have the wherewithal that's going to be really awkward is my problem with Sirianni. He has no awareness that's going – like, are you intentionally trying to do that, or are you just unaware that it's going to make reporters feel awkward that they have to press onto you with your little kids there, your little innocent kids there?
Yeah, I think he lacks self-awareness, and that's even worse. I know there's some who have accused him of bringing the kids as a shield. I don't think that he thought it through that way. I think that he did lack the self-awareness because even though I'm saying there was a lot of positives in this game, you did beat the Browns only 20-16 in a game you were favored by almost 10 points, and he's yelling at the crowd after. It was like he lacked self-awareness. I'm defending the Eagles themselves because I thought there were a lot of positives in this game. I am not defending Nick Sirianni's actions yesterday. It was inappropriate on the sidelines, and it was more inappropriate bringing the kids into the press conference.
Let's give him his due because he has the right to explain it. So Nick Sirianni, 11, why his kids are up there with him.
This game is why me and my brothers are like, I'm gonna get emotional. This game is why my brothers and I are so close, and my dad and I are so close, and my mom is a football mom. Like this game means so much to me, and it's like, why do I have him? Why do I have them here? Because I have so many visions of what made me love this game. Being at Southwestern High School when I was there, these guys' age. AJ came to one of his baseball games. Like these guys are gonna love AJ for their life. Jalen gave him a jersey last year that you have in their room. Like I want these and so it's so important to me that Taylor will be the only one that doesn't play football, but it's so unless you want to, baby. All right, but it's so important to me that they fall in love with this game the way I fall in love with this game. They have school when we practice. Like it's not like high school football. They are able to. This is the moments I can we're gonna go on the field after this and play catch together. Like these are the moments that they're gonna remember. Football games.
Am I supposed to have my eyes water? Or am I supposed to just look at this guy as a professional coach who can take the Eagles somewhere? I don't. He puts me in a spot that I'm very uncomfortable with. This guy.
I don't disagree with you, Mike. I mean, I don't. It's bad. It's a bad look.
Southwest High School and the brothers again and again and again, and I'm sick of it. I've had it.
Look, I could tolerate it if this was a huge win of a playoff game where you battled adversity and now you're going to the Super Bowl. There was no self-awareness here. It was a Week 6 win against a really bad team, and although I'm looking for positives, you gotta know better, Nick. I mean, this is not the time or the place. It's weird.
One more, and then we'll get to the calls. I have to get this out of my system, and we'll get to a break, and then on the other side, we'll get to the calls. He tried to explain why he would do the Allen Iverson ear cup and taught the fans that were booing him. So this is Nick Sirianni 4, right?
I was having fun, and I kind of got some feedback from the guys. Is the sense of we need you back, Nick. We need your energy. We need your focus. We need your I've gotten that from a couple players, and when I'm operating and having fun, I think that breeds to the rest of the football team. If I want the guys to celebrate and be themselves after big plays, then I should probably do that myself. There's times for that, and there's times not for that. I have to have wisdom and discernment of when to do that and when not to do that. But, I think 21, I was kind of talking back and forth with 21 and 0.
They need him to be himself. Here's my observation in covering sports for as long as I have. They don't need that. They need you to provide a plan that works. They don't need you acting like an idiot thinking that you're one of them celebrating a big play. That's not what you look at a coach. You look at a coach as the guy who's steering a ship, who's got all the answers, who stoically provides a plan for you to win.
Yeah, I think Nick misinterpreted because Brandon Graham said after the game, too, I told Nick to be him.
Oh, this nonsense.
I need him to be 2022, Nick.
Stop it.
I think he misinterpreted.
610-632-0975. Let's hear you. All right. It's the Mike Missanelli Show back after this. Show. We're going to have Tim McManus drop in for his opinion on, as a reporter, and you get in there and you got issues. I mean, you saw what happened at the end of the game. You're going to have to ask him about that. It might have to be contentious. So, as a reporter, how do you feel when he brings little kids in? And people might not think that's a big deal, but as a reporter, you go, "Oh man, am I going to look like an idiot if I press this guy to the wall with his little kids there?" And that's the thought that's going through every one of their heads.
It's inappropriate. Look, you and I were both lawyers. I've done tons of depositions. There's a reason why there's not kids sitting on the lap of the witness that you're deposing. It's a professional setting. Same thing with a press conference. You're there to ask unbiased questions, to be objective, to be a journalist. It's just not a place for 3 kids who aren't even 9 years old.
It's like the lady in the grocery store whose little kid is like messing with the candy bars, and she thinks it's cute. And everybody else looks at it, guys, that's not cute. We don't think your kid's that cute. I'll be honest with you.
You're right on that.
All right. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to Greg in Bethlehem. Greg, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Greg?
Hey, guys. Pluses and minuses with the game yesterday. I thought the defense played pretty well. The offense had moments, but I can't understand why they couldn't at least try to get some underneath passes in the middle, short passes like Tampa Bay did. I mean, they were very successful in getting the ball out quick and, making something happen and getting some yak yardage. So
you're right. Like with A.J. Brown back, that slant is unguardable. So I thought it was strange they didn't go to that early on in the game. But then they wound up giving him 9 targets. So I can't complain. He got 9 targets. He caught 6 balls, very important catches. Calcaterra got a couple in there with 4 catches and 4 targets. So it wasn't like, they were ignoring the short stuff.
No, well, I mean, it just seems
finally
to me
got Jahan Dotson in space too on a play, which is the
play.
Yeah, which is correct. Yeah, I don't understand why. That's what that guy. It's probably the only thing he can do, and they finally got a pattern for him where he got some yards out of it.
Yeah, he's pretty shifty. I don't know really why, and fast. I don't know why they don't use him more. I thought they should have run the ball more. They
were stacked against Saquon. They ran it 18 times to Saquon.
Well, trying to run it up the middle was a problem, but I mean, there are other ways to get them involved, and they didn't really concentrate on that.
No, and that's what my point is. Offensively, they didn't look like they were in sync. And I get that Hurts' numbers at the end of the day look good. He made a couple big plays late in the game. But you're coming out of a bye. You're trying to get that thing ironed up. You got your 2 wide receivers back. You got Lane Johnson back. And all right, Goddard goes out early, but it's like punt. This is what I don't understand. All right, let's go to Mick in Texas. Mick, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mick.
Hey, Mike. I'm just calling today, man, because I got to let off some steam. I called a few weeks ago, calling Sirianni clown. Well, you guys got a kick out of that. I got to be honest, man. I think this guy, he's slowly losing his mind. He's losing his composure as someone who's supposed to lead this team.
All right, we're losing him.
Yeah, he's got this. Yeah.
Mick, you got to. Let me put you on hold there to clear you up because we got a bad all the way from Texas, going off a cell tower in Arkansas.
So, but to Mick's point, he's saying Sirianni's losing his mind, and he's not the first person I've seen do that. Like, people on Twitter are saying he's losing his mind. I don't know if he's losing his mind as much as it's just him saying, this is who I am and I don't care, and he doesn't have the self-awareness to realize that you don't act like that as an NFL head coach. Like, I don't know if he's losing his mind.
See, the message that he thinks resonates to his team, I think, is BS. Like, there's no way players won't look at that unless you're really rolling and you've established yourselves as one of the best teams in the league. They don't look at that and they go, what is that? And seriously, I don't care what Brandon Graham says. I mean, he gives sound bites that sound good. Brandon Graham. You
Even
know, it's
Jalen
like-
said it, though. Even Jalen said we encourage him to be himself.
But that's ridiculous.
Look, this is
It really is. That's ridiculous.
But, Mike, I'm not saying I agree with the behavior. But Sirianni was doing this in 2022. He was doing it last year. He was taunting Chiefs fans. He taunted Colts fans.
And it was ridiculous then.
But this is who he is.
Well,
I mean, it is who he is.
If there is such a thing as growing into a mature NFL coach, like, is that a concept that's so foreign that people can't do it? Seriously. What if the guy's 14? Sometimes you grow up to be 18.
Yeah, I can't defend it. I don't like the behavior. I don't like the behavior at all.
Go to Eric in South Carolina. Eric, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Eric,
Mike, what's up, Mike?
how you doing, buddy?
Listen, Mike, man, we won, bro, but if anybody is impressed with that win, like, come on, man. Like, Bill, like, I understand, like, what you're saying, but, yo, like, I fell asleep, yo. Like, that's how flat, like, the game was, man. And sometimes it was actually, like, disgusting, like, to watch. Like, we started off coming off a bye against the Browns, and we punted, bro. And then this dude on the sideline, yo, Nick Sirianni he's really a clown, man.
See, that's
I don't know,
what I'm looking at. I try not to get influenced by ridiculous stuff to turn off a coach. I go, is this a well-coached team? Can this guy take this team up to a greater height? That's what I look at.
Mike, no, terrible. Terrible. We're not a well-coached team. We're not. Nick Sirianni is the problem. And for me, like, to be honest, I'm scared of what might happen next because I don't see us really doing too much this year. I don't.
But look at the remaining schedule now. If they get to be 6-2, then what are you thinking? Look at the division. Look at the division. They're going to win the division by default.
I
The
don't know,
team
Mike.
last night, the
Washington
Dallas
was good,
Cowboy
man.
team they're in complete disarray. That should have got a coach fired at that performance last night.
All right, and Mike, look. Let me ask you this, right, Mike? What do you think he's still involved in play calling?
Yeah, he said it. He's admitted that he's still involved in play call.
God, man, this dude, man. Yeah, Mike, man. I cannot wait. I'm counting down the days to when he's gone. Mike.
I don't know what's going to happen. It's a really interesting point you bring up, Eric, because what is the narrative? What vibe? John Kincade kind of put it out there this morning. The narrative that's coming out of Eagleville is what, Bill?
Well, I just don't think it's positive. I just don't think it's positive from what I don't know what Kincade said on the show this morning, but it's not great. But you look at Sirianni, to this caller's point. If they win the division, is he gone? I mean, because you're saying they're going to win the division by default.
Look at what's in front of them. Unless the Commanders win a division, well, you think Dallas is going to win this division the way they are?
So if Sirianni wins the division, can you fire him? Do they move on?
I don't know.
Are they rooting for him to not win the division? I mean, what? We're in a weird spot.
It's a conundrum. It really is a conundrum. Let's get to the text board, Ray. What do we got? What are they saying on the text board?
Yeah, you wouldn't be surprised to know that people not happy with Nick Sirianni today. But we did have Eric checking in from Newark who wanted to say it's not just Sirianni. All of their coaches get outcoached week after week with maybe the exception of their offensive line coach.
Well, and that's what point of my tweet was. Does this look like a well-coached team? The head coach is one thing, but are they like? What was their offensive game plan to start this game? I didn't see one. I didn't see what they wanted to establish. They went back to the old standby. Well, let's give it to Saquon and see. And when that wasn't working, it's like, oh, all right. Well, then let's see punt. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they weren't able to establish the run yesterday because I keep saying that the Browns' defense has been pretty good. Well, the one area they've struggled is against the run. They were 25th against the run in terms of yards. They were 29th in terms of yards per carry allowed. And the Eagles weren't able to establish the run. It's something they've done well this year.
Okay, so that means if you're a coaching staff, you go, you know what? They're stopping the run. That's plan B that we because you go over these game plans. If they stop the run, let's see. We'll trigger into this mode here. But it seemed that they were doing that. I'm watching the game. I'm going, this is a slog, this game. And the fans aren't into it because of that. They're sitting on their hands the whole bit. And that engenders when a bad play happens, where people turn on you. And they start booing and get disgruntled after that play that Cleveland scores the touchdown right before halftime.
A blocked field goal.
Yes. And so, like, if you don't get your crowd into the crowd's dissatisfied, the least little thing that goes wrong, they're going to pounce on. And they did.
And I'm going to probably get killed for this, but the end of the half, people are angry that Sirianni got involved on that 3rd-and-1 play call that ended up with the sack, and then you get the field goal blocked. I was okay with the play calling there. I loved the aggressiveness there. It's the end of the half. It's a 3rd-and-1. You still have 2 timeouts. They decide to call up a pass play knowing the blitz is coming. Saquon Barkley misses the block. If Barkley picks up the blitz, they had it covered. Jalen Hurts read the protection the right way. All Saquon has to do is pick up that guy, and it's probably a big hit, maybe even a touchdown play. And now we're sitting here thinking, wow, what a blowout. But because it doesn't work, it's Sirianni got involved. He called the 3rd-and-1 play. They ended up missing the field goal. I loved the aggressiveness there. You had 2 timeouts. Why not go for it on 3rd-and-1? If you don't get it, you push 4th-and-1, use your timeout, and now you're in field goal range.
I got to bring this up because apparently I'm the only one who noticed this. Braden Mann's hold had the laces in. Elliott kicked the frickin' laces. Now, I don't. I'm quite positive that maybe could affect the trajectory of a kick and maybe get it blocked. Nobody brought it up. The commentators are looking at it. I'm going, how does he put the laces in? And I'm starting to say, Finkel and Einhorn, Einhorn and Finkel.
Laces out.
Laces out.
There it is. Laces
How
out.
does nobody notice that?
Laces
How in the world
out.
can you be a holder and hold the ball with the laces in to your kicker?
Ace Ventura would have figured it out, Mike. You're right. I don't know if that's why it got blocked. I mean, it got blocked because Myles Garrett is a freak athlete, able to leap over the long snapper.
Laces were in.
Laces out.
He kicked the laces. Go out. Let's go outside during the next break. I'll put the laces in, you kick, and then I'll put them out and you kick, and we'll see what the difference is.
All right, let's do it.
It's
Laces
ridiculous.
Laces
And
out.
nobody brought it out. They have 100 analysts. Jonathan Vilma's sitting there with his fingers in his nostril. Do you see where the football was there?
Vilma missed a few things yesterday.
And not only that, but don't. I'm tired of you people sticking up for a kicker because that dude scattered away from trying to push a guy out of bounds. He'd rather sacrifice a touchdown. Oh, well, Mike, you don't understand. If the kicker gets hurt, I get it. But maybe is it a possibility that he could push a guy out of bounds without getting hurt? My God, I know they're fragile. I know like they're the Halloween skeleton people.
He is small, Mike. Jake Elliott
But my
is
God,
small.
you see the way he avoided? He went in the circle like Mo, Larry, and Curly. Woo, woo, woo. And he spun away from it.
You're not wrong on it, but I don't know. It's hard to get on the kicker there. He's such a. He don't even practice
It's not hard to
tackling.
get on a kicker. We
He
don't
doesn't
need
even
it hard to get on a
practice.
kicker. He's right there. Make an attempt to push the guy out of bounds. I'm not asking you to make a stick.
I'm less angry with him than I am with Michael Clay, the special teams coordinator.
I don't understand this.
It's 3 games in a row,
I do not
Mike.
understand this affection for kickers like this porcelain vase. And they can't be disturbed. Either you do that or it's a touchdown.
Let me ask you.
And it is possible that you won't get hurt.
Let me ask you, because you're a baseball guy.
Yes.
Before the DH was instituted in the National League, did you get on hitters who couldn't hit, or pitchers who couldn't hit?
No.
No, it's similar analysis.
No,
These
it's
guys are not
similar
practicing.
Analysis?
Yes, it is.
I'm not asking them to practice kicking. I'm asking them to get away and maybe push a guy. What am I asking for here? Am I asking for Ray Lewis to come downhill?
Look, I'm not going to get on Elliott. The guy is not.
Oh my God,
he's
you are
tiny.
You are so soft.
It's like Ray Dunn trying to tackle a guy back there.
So
Oh,
soft.
don't you try and turn this on
Ray
me.
Dunn is stronger than Jake
the
Elliott.
bob and weave out of this. Go back to that conversation.
It's
Don't
a
you dare say I couldn't make a
touchdown.
tackle.
A touchdown is valuable. If you can stop the freaking touchdown, at least try. I don't understand, man. Why kickers get this like hands off thing? Just try. You're a football team member.
He's a kicker.
I've got a better chance of making a tackle than you do of hitting a 95-mile-per-hour
By the way,
fastball.
speaking of he's a kicker, I probably shouldn't say that. When I used to work down at the Eagles, David Akers was having a catch. He dropped the ball on the sidelines, and I said, "That's why you're the kicker, David." You would have thought I called his mother a name.
Oh, he didn't like that.
He got in my face, man.
He thinks he thought he was an American gladiator.
Oh my God!
Oh, he called the shot. I had a row with him on the air.
Yeah, I thought he was going to fight me, Akers,
Oh
when I
yeah,
said that.
and he says to me, "I'll beat you in any sport. I'm a better athlete than you in any sport."
Yeah, he was a competitor.
I go, what are we, 12?
Well, he probably would have made the tackle.
Yeah. Well, let's go Terrell in Philly. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Terrell?
How's everybody doing?
How you doing?
So I usually agree with Bill. Bill's my dude, man. I usually agree with Bill. I'm on the Sirianni.
How is that even possible that you could agree with Bill?
Because I'm a smart man.
How is it possible?
I'm a
Bill's
smart
good
man.
dude. Bill, good dude. But I got to say this. The Commanders last week did better than the Browns. Did better than the Eagles last week. And they don't have a good roster like we do. The Giants, I didn't see the game, but their box score looked better than the against the Browns than we did. Like, how is that possible? Like, we only played Baltimore. Like you said, we're going to win the division by 4. Maybe, because, we still play the Commanders twice. Do you think we could beat the Commanders twice?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe a split. But I don't want the Commanders.
But to your point, the Giants, and not that we want to compare ourselves to the Giants, but the Giants against the Cleveland Browns only put up 340 yards. Eagles put up 372. They only put up 228 passing.
21 points. They scored 1 point more than us. They scored 1 point less than us.
That's right. They scored 21. They won that game 21-15.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, they did better than us. They're technically better than us. Like, we can't be letting these inferior teams outplay us and do better than us. Like, we're better than that. Like, if we go to the playoffs, can we beat a playoff team? We only play Baltimore and the Commanders that probably on our schedule that's good. So we're going to win the division. But can we go to the playoffs and beat the Lions and the 49ers and all them teams?
Not playing like this, they can't. I agree with you. I'm looking for positives in this game. I felt like it was a step in the right direction. It wasn't the blowout, but there were positives. There were, Terrell. There were. I mean, look, and I love you too, man. I appreciate you always checking in.
Mutual love. Now.
We do. I appreciate Terrell.
Yeah, callers say he loves.
Come on, the Commanders put up 34 points last week against. They don't have the roster we have. They don't have the talent we have. They put up 34 points. We all watched the game. It was a bye week. We didn't see nothing but the Commanders and I forgot the other game that was on. But we seen the game. Like, they're not better than us. Like, we are letting inferior teams be better than us and outplay us.
Yeah, you're not wrong. What the Commanders did to the Cleveland Browns was more impressive offensively than what the Eagles did yesterday. The offense wasn't perfect yesterday. I'm not saying they were good enough yesterday, but there were things to like about the offensive performance, and there were certainly a lot of things to like about the defensive performance. That's my point. And I feel like because of the way last season ended, we are just looking for every single negative and ignoring some of the positives. Look, we're not talking a lot about
much good.
Cooper DeJean looked like he belonged yesterday. Quinyon Mitchell still looks like he is an absolute stud. I get on Howie Roseman for defensive draft picks. Looks like the first 2 picks in this year's draft, he got right. These guys look like they're going to be very good players in this league. And maybe, look, Nolan Smith gets a sack yesterday. Bryce Huff gets a half a sack yesterday. There are things to like, and I know you're going to say this is an excuse. Jordan Mailata leaves that game yesterday. Dallas Goedert leaves that game yesterday. These aren't 2 guys that we should just say, oh, well, whatever. Injuries happen. These are 2 of your best players on that offensive line, and Dallas Goedert's a part of that running game because he's such a good blocker. You put Grant Calcaterra in there, he's not as good of a blocker. Could that be why the running game suffered yesterday? They found a way to win. A win is a win in the NFL, to quote Nick Sirianni. Make a lot of people happy with that one.
Yeah, listen, I'm feeling really good. Somebody ought to deliver me a bouquet of roses now after that speech, Bill.
There were things to like.
You did it.
Hell yeah.
You turned me completely around.
Sirianni was not one of them. I agree.
632-0975. We're going to go around the NFL at 11:30. And I'm going to bury the Cowboys. The Mike Missanelli Show is back after this. Missanelli Show brought to you by Grungo Law. Your law firm when you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace. Prepare for trial at grungolaw.com. And our 10 o'clock hour, of course, brought to us by Window Nation. They got a 50% off sale right now, all style windows, plus make no payment, down payment with no payments, no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Okay, last night, of course, the Dodgers beat the Phillies. Oh, wait, excuse me. That script was, that's 2 weeks old, that script. I'm sorry. It was
throwing salt in the wound, Mike.
It was the Mets who lost to the Dodgers last night. I apologize. A little night baseball on last night. I didn't watch it.
And what is that, 33 innings now? They haven't given up a run,
Yeah,
right?
the Dodgers look like they're going to go to the World Series. The Mets probably are done, but who knows? You never know. In any event, the Eagles with a win yesterday. It's all good. They win. And it's the first of maybe 4 straight wins, although I don't think they're beating Cincinnati. So 3. 3 wins will be in this, and that'll still put them atop the division. So all that's good. Their defense played very well yesterday. Jalen Hurts very efficient, although the offensive game plan seemed to slog early on in this game, but they made the necessary plays, and especially they made it on defense when the Browns threatened to tie the game with a touchdown. A big out-of-bounds stop on Deshaun Watson, and then a couple false starts messed up that whole thing. They kicked a meaningless field goal, and then the Eagles sought the game away with a long pass to A.J. Brown. So all that is good. And yet, after the game, the head coach decided that he was going to taunt the people that maybe booed him as the first half came to a conclusion, and then the fired Nick Chance and the whole thing. So let's play the R-word game now. The R-word game is it's either refreshing or it's ridiculous. And so here is Nick Sirianni after the game talking about why he had his children with him at the post-game press conference.
This game is why me and my brothers are I'm gonna get emotional. This game is why my brothers and I are so close, and my dad and I are so close, and my mom is a football mom. Like, this game means so much to me, and it's like, why do I have him? Why do I have them here? Because I have so many visions of what made me love this game. Being at Southwestern High School when I was there, these guys' age. AJ came to one of his baseball games. Like, these guys are gonna love AJ for their life. Jalen gave him a jersey last year that you have in their room. Like, I want these, and so it's so important to me that Taylor will be the only one that doesn't play football. But it's so unless you want to, baby. All right, but it's so important to me that they fall in love with this game the way I've fallen in love with this game. They have school when we practice. Like, it's not like high school football. They are able to, this is the moments I can, we're going to go on the field after this and play catch together. Like, these are the moments that they're going to remember football games.
Refreshing or ridiculous?
Ridiculous.
The R word.
Ridiculous.
You see, I don't know. I can't imagine the Tom Hanks character in Saving Private Ryan. Tell me, this is why we got in the war, because my dad. I have so many great memories of it. I don't know, man. Maybe it's me. Maybe I just this type of cat is just not for me.
I don't think it's just you. I think is there anyone out there, because I haven't heard it yet. And look, if there was anyone who was going to defend Nick today, it would have been me. And I'm not defending these actions of his. I mean, I was in support of him coming back. We all know that. I can't sit up here and defend anything that he did yesterday. The barking at the fans, the bringing the kids to the press conference. I haven't heard anyone say, yeah, you know what, I don't have a problem with it. And I'm curious if there are people out there who didn't have a problem with it.
Well, that's why I said, is it refreshing or ridiculous? Some people may look at that as refreshing. That's really cool. Football means so much to them. And it may be cool. But as a leader of an NFL team, which is a serious, serious business, I don't know that the high school approach works. That's all I'm saying. And I think a guy that should know better, he's an adult man. I don't know.
No self-awareness. The best part about Nick yesterday, the new cut, man. See that new fresh haircut?
Yeah, I couldn't care less.
We're going to get you like that. You're going to be shaving
You got a Bill Colarulo cut.
That's right. No,
Except
look,
he had a little more fade on it, man. How come you don't get a fade?
I just do it. It's easier just to...
Oh, man, get a little style with that ball.
He probably has...
Looks like a honeydew melon.
They probably got a barber there, dude. Like when we went to the Sixers practice facility, did you see there was a whole room just for a barber?
You look like a cantaloupe. You remember that movie line?
What is that from?
The movie True Romance.
Oh, that's a good movie. James Gandolfini's great in that movie.
Yeah, he is great. He wound up trying to kill Rosanna or Joanna or what's her name?
That
Arquette.
scene's brutal.
Yeah,
That's a tough
in
scene
the
to watch.
trailer park with Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken.
That's what he says. You look like a cantaloupe.
Yeah, because he called him an ethnic slur. Do you
I don't remember that scene. I'll go back and watch.
He called him a certain vegetable,
Oh, I know what he called.
and then Christopher Walken said, "And you're a cantaloupe."
Yeah. I got to go back and watch. That's a good movie.
I'm all over the place.
That's a
today,
good
Ray.
movie.
Indulge me. I'm like crazy today.
Well, I mean, Nick's doing this to you. I just was back here talk with Austin. Sirianni's got me all out of whack today. Listening to him speak actually is nails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah, and it's not blending well with the drugs I'm taking. So
You're all messed up.
So I will produce the best I can to make sure we stay on the rails. 610-632-0975.
All right, let's go to Ed in Newtown Square. Ed, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Ed.
Morning, Michael.
Hello, Ed.
I hope you're feeling better after the surgery.
Yeah, it's a little sore, but I got a regimen of meds that I'm diligent with.
Hang in there, Michael. Hang in.
Thank you.
So, my opinion, I have an opinion and a question. My opinion is Nick Sirianni knew exactly what he was doing. There's no doubt in my mind. He knew what he was going to face the music, and he brought those kids, those props, in like a shield. My opinion, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. Now I have a question for you, Michael, because you're a reporter. What happens to, because I know everybody's read Mike Salciunas' article in the Inquirer today.
Yeah, I thought he did a very good job with that article, by the way.
I thought it was excellent. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, Michael, what's the fallout to him as a reporter? Because there's going to be some vitriol. You know that's coming.
No, you can't worry about that as a reporter. Especially if you're a columnist, you're going to have opinions. You're going to lay it out there. It's like me. I think I've had problems with players and coaches and general managers over the years. You can't possibly think of that because if you withhold that, thinking what the ramifications are, you're not being truthful with your audience.
Yeah, but there's a lot of reporters that aren't, Michael.
Listen, if the Eagles want to try to put the squeeze on reporters, it's up to them. But a columnist should just, he's not a beat writer, so they're not going to withhold any information from him. They're not going to do stuff in secret. The columnist has to let it fly, and if there are ramifications, he's going to have to deal with it.
And Ed, my understanding, the Eagles aren't defending this behavior. I don't think the Eagles organization is upset with Salciunas' article or anyone, us included, who are talking about this behavior as being unacceptable. I think the Eagles organization also felt that it was unacceptable, the sideline antics, and then bringing the kids to the press conference. And I don't think you will ever see those three kids at a press conference again unless it's a Super Bowl championship. I think they put the kibosh on that.
You just answered my question because that was the next question. Do you think that you'll ever see those kids again? And my hope is he's not permitted to do that again. It's not take your kids to work.
Well, and this is the thing. This is why I posed the question: refreshing or ridiculous? Because a lot of people think that's cute. I put it in context. Like it might be cute to the average Joe who sees that, but from a reporter standpoint, it's not cute. It's not cute because you now have put the people in an uncomfortable position of maybe having to badger you in front of their kids.
Yeah, you can't do it. And I don't think you'll see them. I don't think you'll see them again. And look, he said it at the press conference. After this, we're going to go have a catch on the field. That's fine. Bring your kids on the field. Mm-hmm. But when you're at a press conference, this is part of your job as an NFL head coach. You shouldn't have your kids on your lap. You shouldn't. Look, Andy Reid always had his sons around. But he would never have had them up there with him at a press conference. It's unacceptable. You can have your kids around, but at the press conference,
I'm probably more of a hard-hearted man than most people because I get sick of the Liam thing. And and most people love that Liam thing.
I'm hard-hearted?
I'm done with the Liam. You know?
Yeah,
I'm done, that's it. It's over for me.
But at least it's not like Castellanos is doing a press conference with the kids sitting there.
No, but enough.
Yeah, see, I like him celebrate with him.
You do.
But I'm with you on this, the kids thing here.
Well, you're 24. You're not as cynical as I am.
You tell me to check in a few years and let you know?
I had enough of the Liam thing. I've seen it for 2 years now. Enough. All right, so here's what Sirianni, what Salciunas wrote about Sirianni, and in his column today. And I like columnists that will go out and tell it like this if they feel it. So he says, he writes, in the closing seconds of the Eagles' 2016 victory, the Fox cameras caught Sirianni refusing to exercise even a smidge of self-control once again. There he was, barking back at who knows how many fans, putting his index finger to his right ear in an "I can't hear you" gesture before walking up the field, reaffirming that he's too insecure to let even the most mindless public criticism roll off of him. It's very well stated. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. We're back after this. 7-5 is how you get in. Bill, amongst your wonderful review of the Eagles' play yesterday, a question has come to my mind. Now, they did score a couple touchdowns from outside the red zone, but did they get inside the red zone yesterday?
The only time they got in the red zone was at the end of the game. And they went 0 for 1, obviously, because they weren't trying to score. So no red zone opportunities.
No red zone opportunities. Now, what is your reaction to that?
I didn't say it was a perfect game, Mike. I said that we can find positives
but
in this.
you know,
So
you
much
were all
good.
about how I was. You were countering my point that it seemed like an offensive slog for most of the game, and I think that's those facts point that out that they didn't get in the red zone until the last possession.
The reason I found
But they
positive.
did get to the 22. All right, so I'm splitting hairs.
Yeah, there you go. But the reason that I found some positives is because through the first 4 games of the season, the issues I've had with this team were that the defense has looked really bad. They had no pass rush. Well, yesterday, defense looked good. They sacked Deshaun Watson 5 times. I get it. It's the Cleveland Browns. But they held them out of the end zone the entire game defensively. That's a positive. What issues did I have with the offense? Jalen Hurts' turnovers. Jalen Hurts' inability to get the ball to his playmakers in space. You saw that yesterday. No turnovers. You saw him get Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, even Grant Calcaterra involved. So there were positives. Not a perfect game by any means. I'm not saying that fans should be over the top excited, but to me it was a step in the right direction.
I think you're saying that fans should be over the top excited.
No, it was a step in the right direction.
That vibe from you. All right, so let's get back to this because I didn't realize that that Mike Sealski, the columnist, had actually asked the question. And we talk about Sirianni's awareness. All right, so Sealski apparently says, "Why are your kids here?" He asked that question in the press conference. Now, that's a question that's not. It's not supposed to be, boy, did you have fun on the family picnic question. It's a question to kind of press the head coach on, we got to ask you some tough questions about the end of this game and how you reacted. So why are your kids here? That's basically the point of the question, right?
Yeah, and he has no self-awareness and thinks he's being asked.
It's not like, why are your kids here? Can we put the checkerboard tablecloth down and have some chicken cutlets? Question.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it was intentional. The people who think that he intentionally brought him up as a shield.
He's just not aware.
No
So,
self-awareness.
all right, so here comes the question from Sealski. Why are your kids here? And here's the answer.
This game is why me and my brothers are like, I'm gonna get emotional. This game is why my brothers and I are so close, and my dad and I are so close, and my mom is a football mom. Like this game means so much to me, and it's like, why do I have him? Why do I have them here? Because I have so many visions of what made me love this game. Being at Southwestern High School when I was there, these guys' age. AJ came to one of his baseball games. Like these guys are gonna love AJ for their life. Jalen gave him a jersey last year that you have in their room. Like I want these and so it's so important to me that Taylor will be the only one that doesn't play football. But it's so unless you want to, baby. All right, but it's so important to me that they fall in love with this game the way I fall in love with this game. They have school when we practice. Like it's not like high school football. They are able to. This is the moments I can we're gonna go on the field after this and play catch together. Like these are the moments that they're gonna remember.
I know. Please make it end. Make it end, Ray.
So
Please.
the question was, why are your
That's
kids?
your boy.
Why are your kids here? And he goes off on that tangent, and I'm just scratching my head. Yeah. All right. Again, people could hear that and be charmed by it. I'm a cynical sort of sports analyst follower, curmudgeon, and so I don't look at it like it's refreshing.
I think it takes the cynical look at it,
No,
to
it
be
doesn't.
honest with you. If you put it in context of where his kids are in the moment of it, even those who are so happy-go-lucky.
I'm giving people the opportunity. So you know what? That's cool. That's so refreshing. That warmed my heart to hear that. It is possible people look at it that way.
Time and place, Mike. Time and place. This wasn't it. It wasn't it for him.
All right, let's go to Andy's in Iowa checking in. What's up, Andy?
I think it's all pretty simple. The players win despite the coach. It's like, you always say, you got to think next level. I think you don't have to go that far. You just think main level. And it's like, Steichen was the play caller that saved his coaching career because he lost him, and then took over play calling, got the Super Bowl. He's gone. Now he's back, and the dysfunction with his play calling is just bringing the team down. The team wins despite of the coach, not the other way around, which is the way it should be. We have the players to win, but the coach always gets in the way. Like, who goes for it on 4th and 1 when there's 14 seconds left? Just kick the stinking field goal. But yes, we're gonna, and then he goes, we're gonna fake that we're gonna go for it, and then we're gonna do some end around cutesy stuff with 14 seconds left. Like,
You're 2 games ago.
and then
You're going 2 games
Yeah.
ago.
right,
Yeah, listen,
it all adds up. Like,
Well, here's the thing.
Jalen's been raised by a coach. He's been coached by premium coaches, top tier coaches, and he sees this as his coach. You think he respects him? No, he don't respect him. None of the players do. Look at the Georgia Bulldogs players on the team. Oh, we were coached harder at Georgia than we are here. Like, who's going to respect that? It just wears on you. You know, he's gone to a hate the face guy now, Sirianni, and it's like, what do you expect the guys he's next to every day are going to start thinking of him? They're hearing his long.
Well, according to him, they want him to be himself, and I can't think of a player who would want him to be that. I really don't. Players look to a guy as for leadership, and not one of them, not one of their flunkies, and he kind of wants to be one of the flunkies. I don't understand the methodology, but you hear he's just one of those guys. Like some people are born with a palm tree sticking out of their orifice. Like I'm not one of those type of cats. Like, he's Mr. Like.
Let me ask you something.
Enthusiasm, and he's probably one of those guys that pumped everybody up in high school, and
at Mount
those
Union
types.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, because, and this is a genuine question. How did this team have so much success in 2022 with him acting the same way? And I don't like it. I don't like the sideline antics. But he did the exact same thing in 2022. He did it in the Super Bowl, for God's sake.
Maybe you can get away with it temporarily, Bill. I mean, seriously, when he was that, I go, boy, I tell you what, he better win. Because this nonsense that he puts out there, he better win right away, or some guys are going to go roll their eyes. He's an eye roll guy. And so we're in this position now where they can win some games, and maybe people will not even think about the eye roll. But here's my question about the they brought in coordinators, and he brought in an offensive coordinator, so he would call the plays. Now he's admitting that he's still messing around in the play calling. What do you think management is thinking about that?
Well, number one, I'm not sure if this is Sirianni truly being the one that calls these plays, or does he think he's falling on the sword for his coordinators? I think he's trying to take on this mentality where I'm going to be the bad guy to the media. Maybe he did call the plays, but I think it was more along the lines of, on that 3rd and 1, him telling Kellen Moore, I want to be aggressive here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take a break. On the other side, we'll go around the NFL, and then we'll get back to your calls. A lot of people want to talk today. We're glad to have you. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this. A reporter in on that press conference. We'll get his impressions. But 11:30 on Monday is something we reserved for 5 things that caught my attention on the weekend of football. I put the caveat, the weekend of football. It's called Around the NFL and More. Let's start with number 1. All right, we think we have it bad here. The Cowboys are an absolute disaster. Dallas lost its 3rd straight game at home. They're now 3-3 for the season after a 47-9 thumping at the hands of Bill Colarulo's favorite NFL team, the Detroit Lions. The Lions are bidding to be the best team in the NFC, but they suffered a terrible blow in this game as NFL sacks leader Aiden Hutchinson suffered what appeared to be a broken leg. Yeah, it was a broken tibia. They confirmed it. But really, this is the kind of embarrassing result that should get the head coach fired. And we'll see about Mike McCarthy down the road, but they elected not to fire him after this game. The Lions hit them on all angles. They rolled up 492 offensive yards with Jared Goff, who had an unreal 153.8 passer rating. He threw for 315 and 3 touchdowns, including one on a flea flicker to Sam Laporta. And here it is.
Get into that in a second. Oh, here's a little trickery. Straight Brown back to Goff. Flea flicker's got Laporta wide open. Sam Laporta foot race towards the end zone. Diving touchdown. Unreal.
There you go. Unreal. Tom Brady yelping in the background like a school kid. Anyway, number 2. The ultimate test came to the plucky Washington Commanders yesterday. It went pretty much as predicted, with the Commanders losing to the Baltimore Ravens. They stepped up an opponent class for Washington, though they did show some fight at the end. They before losing by the spread, it was a 7-point spread, they lost 30-23. Lamar Jackson, he schooled the younger Jaden Daniels in this one. He threw for 323 yards and a touchdown. He rushed for 40 more. Zay Flowers snared 9 balls on 9 targets for a career-high 132. Meanwhile, Derrick Henry plowed through the Commanders for 132 yards on 24 carries and a pair of TDs. All right, Daniels was no slouch. Threw for 269, pair of TDs to Terry McLaurin, big plays. But the Commanders' defense got whipped. Ravens rolled up 484 total yards. They had scoring drives of 93 and 94 yards. And it was a backdoor score from Washington and gave him a push. Here's Henry rumbling in from 7 yards in the 3rd quarter that gave the Ravens a 27-13 lead.
2nd and 5. He still faced that with power, with Henry, with a touchdown. Great call, Tony. His 2nd touchdown of the game.
He still got it, man. I thought he was a little played out. Number 3, the Chicago Bears. Whoa, what's going on here? The Bears tripped all the way to London to keep Dougie P's name on the critical list. They whooped the Jags 35-16. And looky here at DeAndre Swift, left for dead. All of a sudden, he comes out, runs for 91 yards and a touchdown, but it was Caleb Williams putting on a jolly good show, Bill. Williams threw for 4 touchdowns, including 2 to tight end Cole Kmet. I love the name, Kmet. He was also called into duty to be a long snapper in this game because long snapper Scott Daly had to leave the game early with a knee injury, and Kmet is the emergency guy only because the Bears coaching staff found out the other day that he long snapped in high school like Bill Colarulo did in college. So Kmet snapped for 4 PATs, but here's Williams hitting Kmet late in the game and a half to complete a drive that was aided by 2 big scrambles by the quarterback.
Let's throw into the end zone. There's Kmet doing it all here in London.
Well, that family couldn't buy a vowel. We're crying out loud. Number 4, Spencer Rattler. Where art thou? I checked in on the score of the Bucs and Saints game early on Sunday because I had picked the Saints. I saw Rattler was starting this game for the injured Derek Carr, was rolling up some points. In fact, the Saints scored 27 in the 2nd quarter. They took a 27-24 lead into halftime, but that didn't last. The Bucs went nuts in the 2nd half, went up routing the Saints 51-27. Baker Mayfield threw for 125 yards. Chris Godwin, Delaware kid, had 11 snares and 2 touchdowns at Tampa Bay, rushed for 277 more. Yes, that's almost 600 yards of total offense. Here's Mayfield to Godwin for a big 55-yard tutty in the 3rd quarter.
It's moving out to Godwin in space, and he picks up the 1st down and pinballs his way inside the 40 and off to the races. Chris Godwin's 2nd touchdown of the day, and Tampa Bay is back out in front.
Bad loss for me again. I can't pick my nose right now. All right, number 5. Okay, all right, let's see. What else could have stuck out to me on the football weekend? Oh, wait. Let me hear it, Ray. Here it is. Da 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 State Nittany Lions are going to the college football playoffs. Penn State with a great win at USC in overtime. The game was won after Brian Barker kicked a 36-yard field goal in overtime after USC had missed their field goal try. But the big move in this game was Penn State's final offensive drive in regulation. They went 75 yards to tie the score at 30-30 with quarterback Drew Aller converting on a 4th and 7 and a 4th and 10. USC had a chance to drive for a game-winning field goal, but Lincoln Riley didn't use any timeouts, and his quarterback got intercepted. Here's Drew Aller, 14-yard TD to Nick Singleton that tied the game.
Just inside the 15, Aller, number 15. Flares it out in the flat. Nick Singleton down the sideline. Touchdown, Penn State.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Come on, Bill. Da-da-da. Da-da-da-da.
All right, Ray. All right, turn off the mic.
Da-da-da-da. And people say, well, Mike, how could they have clinched a college football playoff berth? Well, let's do some projection. They have one loss left on their schedule. It's Ohio State. They'll probably lose to Ohio State. But that's not going to – certainly a loss to Ohio State is not going to knock them out of the playoffs. So that win pretty much guaranteed they're in the college football 12-team playoff. Bill, what do you think?
I don't know, man.
You Penn State haters make me sick. You're so jealous. You're in lowly Gettysburg down there, southeast of Penn State, and you just hate.
Don't count your chickens is all I'm saying. There's been a lot of upsets this year in college football.
Penn State's going to lose to somebody?
Hey, you never know. If, God forbid, they have to
They went to the coast and beat that team. That team's a pretty good team, that USC team. They showed me a little bit.
And they had to drive over an hour to the airport to get there.
Exactly. More, 2 hours to Harrisburg. And then fly out there. Jet-lagged, the whole bit. They come and they win the game.
Well, you're going to coming up at our News at Noon, there's a interesting audio from somebody about that Penn State comeback.
Is that right?
Yeah, Ray's got something good for you.
Oh, Ray got something cooked up? Okay. Let's go to Chris in Jersey. Chris, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Chris?
What's going on, man? I wasn't aware the Ringling brothers have been in town for the past 2 weeks. So who wore it better, Nick Sirianni or Britney Spears with the skinhead look?
I'm a Brit fan.
You like Britney?
Yeah, I always was.
Not really. But anyway, what was the last time the Philadelphia Eagles have had somebody in their locker room holding people accountable?
So, from all accounts, and I know you probably don't want to hear this right now because we're clowning on Sirianni. From all accounts, he's actually, when it comes to coaching the players, does hold people accountable. I mean, that's the word that I have gotten, is that he does hold people accountable, especially in team meetings. I mean, I know they may not respect him, but he tries to at least.
Well, then who's holding him accountable?
It's a good question.
Because he can't keep himself accountable, clearly.
Big time, I guess.
He can't control his actions. He can't control his words. Well, listen, the last time they've had somebody like that in the locker room, that's John Runyon. Good cop, bad cop routine with Brian Dawkins and John Runyon. John Runyon will break you down. Brian Dawkins will build you up. So I got a question. What is wrong with Jalen Hurts' throwing mechanics? Have you ever noticed he throws off his back foot?
He had an okay enough game yesterday. Yeah. I'm not going to quibble about how he throws the football.
Yeah,
that's the way he throws it. A lot of people have different throwing motions.
Today, look, I've been critical of Hurts to start this season. Today, when you look back at yesterday's game, Hurts is not the guy that we should be critical of, and we shouldn't be critical of the defense. And we're talking about the head coach. We're talking about the offensive game plan or play calling. But yeah, I'm not coming after Hurts today.
Clean game. He had a clean game, and he made two really significant throws towards the end of that game to put it away. Stallworth on a cell. What's up, Stall?
Yo,
what you doing, man? Where you been?
What's up, brother? Yo, man, I just been working, dog. So I just been working, man. But I know you are back. Let me give you your flowers right now off the top, man. I'm so glad that you're back, brother. You are literally a pillar in the Philadelphia sports community, have been for years. You know I'm a huge fan of yours, man. Always going to support whatever you do. I'm just happy that you're back, brother.
Thank you, man. I like being a pillar.
I'm serious, man. I'm shooting you straight, brother.
No, I appreciate that. I got the mobility of a pillar right now. Yeah.
Well, then it's good then, right?
Yeah.
You got the mobility to spit.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, man. I'm like you, Eminem. And Bill doesn't know this. One of my nicknames for you, White Thought. That's what I used to call
White
Eminem
Thought
back in the day.
White what?
White Thought.
White Thought. Yeah.
As in Black Thought from the Roots.
Yeah, like Black Thought from the Roots.
Right.
I will call
White Thought.
Eminem White Thought because he was just one of the most conscious white boys that I've ever known. He just has a really good mind for things, man. You know what I mean? He's a conscious type cat. So, but like you, Eminem, I never really care what a head coach says in a press conference. I normally it doesn't matter to me. But in the case of Sirianni, I think it actually gives us insight to how bad he is as a coach. Like, he's all over the place in his press conferences. His answers, they just ramble on and on and on. You can ask him, hey, were you guys at the 20-yard line? And his answer will be, I just love football and how you could look at the 20-yard line.
I remember when my brothers were at the 20-yard line. Right? My brothers were at the 20-yard line once, and they said, Nick, we got to run this play.
And you're like, and it's one thing if some cats are they can masterfully spin an answer where, like, they never really answered your question, but they were so eloquent, erudite, it didn't matter that they didn't answer. That's not him. He just rambles on, and he comes across to me as just immature.
He does.
He doesn't come across as mature.
You're right. And I think as an NFL coach, you kind of have to have a maturity to you to lead a team. Like, these are grown men that are always going to look at you with a jaundiced eye, and you got to win them over with the expertise and leadership. And I think he wants to be one of them.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Look, you got grown men with mortgages and kids and wives. You can't be the cat that has no control of your emotions. You drawing back and forth with fans. You can't come. That's the reason why, Bill. And I know you're like a supporter of his to some degree. You can't come across like you're not the leader. Do you notice how in all his press conferences over and over and over again he I'm the head coach. Well, I'm the head coach. Well, I'm the head coach. He's trying to convince himself, and he's also trying to convince everybody else. I am the head coach. Because we all can see it. You don't act like a head coach at all. I'd rather him be like Bill Belichick in terms of the press conferences and just say stuff like,
I get it. But you have to be who you are, right? So he can't be Bill Belichick. But, like, who you are as a leader of men is important when you have – these are grown men. Like, these are non-impressionable college kids. Like, let me just go through this whole analysis. When they hired him, I said, you got to be kidding me. Like, when he came out, I go, this is the guy. Like, what could he have been in a job interview that won you over with his Harry High School stuff? Now, they hired him, so I go, oh, they must have the insight that I don't have. And it turns out he takes him to the Super Bowl. I go, well, maybe I was wrong. But all the while, I'm thinking, if this goes bad for this guy, this is going to go really bad because that happy talk only works for a certain amount of time when you have cynical grown men. And the most important thing is not how you bond with them with silliness. The most important thing is giving them a plan that succeeds so they believe that you know what you're doing. And so this is what I've seen with the guy. Now lately, it's like you've regressed to that point where you went into that interview and start talking about plants growing and crap and all this stuff. And I go, this is the NFL. Like, if you were getting hired to be the head coach of Akron in the MAC, then that enthusiasm will be welcomed. This is the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and that was a great call by Stallworth, by the way.
Stall's a good man.
Yeah, he made a lot of good points.
Really good call.
Really good points. It is hard to defend Sirianni. I don't agree with anything that he did yesterday as far as his behavior. But you mentioned the fertilizer speech. They did, after that speech, go on a tear to the playoffs. And in 2022, he acted this way.
So it's like Dougie P. Oh, man, what a sophisticated cut. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes it just happens without any influence from somebody. You know?
Yeah. Now, he needs to know better. And you're right. It's not college kids. It's grown men. They're going to be rolling their eyes at stuff. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know what to say. But I'm angry today because I have defended this guy. And he did act like a clown yesterday. And it's not just here locally. I mean, you turn on ESPN this morning. Get Up is calling him a clown. It's everywhere. I'm getting texts from my friends who in New York saying, "What's up with your head coach?" I mean, this is just a bad look.
Funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown.
What's up with your boy?
Yeah,
They should be asking. Yeah, what's up with your ball? So the only thing that's going to bring me back now, Ray, I need the good sanity of Jalen Hurts, the AI quarterback. Do we have a particular AI quote from Jalen again that's going to settle me down from the emotions? I need to be brought down a level with Mr. Serious. Can we? Is there one thing that you can point to? All right, how about 4? Let's go with 4, right? Jalen Hurts 4. I need this.
Just coming out here and playing clean. Good to come off of a win, especially after all the work that we've put in, all the conversation that I've had with everyone, and it's good. It's good to win. That's what it all is about at the end of the day. We all come here, put our time, our efforts, our energy. We spend so much time with one another just to chase this common goal, and that's team football. And I think today we played Eagles football. Had to clean up some things, had the situation before half I think could have been avoided, but ultimately we're building, and it's always good to build off of a win.
Beep. Machine needs to be reset.
Hold on, I will say, but
keep the main thing.
Did you see Jalen having some fun yesterday? He did the kid and play with A.J. Brown in the end zone after the touchdown. He was trying to show a little bit of personality yesterday. It's hard for him because he's a robot, but
That's the funny thing that makes me chuckle.
He did show some emotion yesterday.
Yeah. All right, that's good. That's good. I needed that. I needed the counterbalance. David on the cell. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. David.
Hey, how you guys doing?
What's up, David?
Hey, listen, if you can tell me another coach in the top 10, say even top 20, that had to go through in 4 years a new offensive coordinator every year. You know what? It's not many of them out there. And then when you take Jalen Hurts and you just look at his overall game, how he plays, do you know, it's so, well, I'll use this. Patrick Mahomes got as many turnovers as Jalen. And he's considered to be the best quarterback in the league.
Hold on. Let me see. Did he win a couple things? I don't know. Maybe Mahomes. Maybe I'm missing something. Has he accomplished something in this league? I could be wrong.
Guess what? That's called a team.
Oh, okay. So now it's a team. It's not the quarterback.
Let me ask you this.
All right. So listen, David. Hold on. Let me slow you down here. Let me slow you down.
Yes.
You are obviously being pro Sirianni, pro Hurts, and that's fine. But why did they have to change coordinators? Why did they change coordinators?
One of them get promoted.
Why did they change coordinators this year?
This year, he's talking about 2 years ago. They lost both of them after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they lost them. But why was it taken away from him? Because he had the controls, right?
Well,
so the management took the controls away from him. Why?
I thought he still has control from what we heard.
They hired 2 coordinators saying you're now going to be a CEO. Now, he bleeds in there and he admits that he's still calling some plays, but they made an overt move to change the dynamic to take play calling away from him.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Mm-hmm. With AJ. AJ he played, one game in the last 8 maybe games? 7, 8 games AJ played. You got your star receiver out. You got another guy. Remember how A.J. jumped up and caught that ball and held on to it when the man was behind him on his back and came down with it? Most of the other time they fumble it or drop it, and then Jalen he turned the ball over. He should have never threw to that man.
Yeah, well, he underthrew it.
A.J. there, A.J. can hold on to it.
So, David, what is your point here? That everything's okay?
Had A.J. played in the first 5 games, we might have a much better record.
So your point is that everything's okay with the Eagles.
Everything's going to be good.
The coach is fine, and the quarterback is fine. All right, the quarterback.
No, the coach is going to get a free ride off them players when it's all said and done.
All right. So I don't really know what the point was there, other than you think Jalen Hurts has been underappreciated. I get it. He played well yesterday, but you're going to make a comparison that Mahomes has the same amount of turnovers as Hurts? I mean, come on, let's go. 610-632-0975. Coming up is the news at noon, but also Kelly Green cash giveaway is still going on. Well, we can give you $1,000. So don't go anywhere because I'm about to give you a keyword after this. 0% financing for 72 months, $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. Your Philadelphia Eagles en route to a winning streak here after they take care of the always tough Cleveland Browns before a really over-the-top, rabid home crowd, which was sat on their hands for most of the game. The Eagles' offense did enough to get by. The defense was stalwart. A lot of guys played well, including Cooper DeJean in his first start. He did get okey-duked a couple times, but for the most part, played hard. Quinton Mitchell's a good player. I have no problem with him. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a very, very unusual player because there was one play on the completion down the field. Who was that to? Is that to Cooper? Where he kind of like went around in a circle instead of engaging in the tackle? You remember that play?
I do. I don't remember who it was on, but you're right. Has not been impressive this season, Chauncey, at all.
And then we had the end of the half circumstance with the block kick and Rodney McLeod, the ex-Eagle, returning it for a touchdown. And I swear to God, I must be the only one that looked at that and I go, how in the hell does a holder point the laces towards the kicker? And I'm going, Finkel and Einhorn and Finkel.
Laces out.
Well, we are...
there's just some bizarre things happen in that game.
Laces out.
We're obviously talking a lot about the head coach, but we haven't talked enough about the special teams coordinator, Michael Clay, because, blocked field goal yesterday. It's now 3 straight games where there's been a special teams play that could change the outcome. You had the muff punt against the Bucs, and you had the blocked punt against the New Orleans Saints. So Michael Clay's got to get his unit together because that can change a game quickly, as you saw yesterday. The Eagles dominated that first half. You kick that field goal there, what's the score? 13-3? Instead, you go into the half 10-10 because of that play.
Laces out.
And, of course, I know. At least Brady Mann tried to engage. Like he tumbled and tried to make the tackle to save a touchdown. But the kicker, Elliott, scrambled around like somebody yelled Taco Bell. You know?
I still don't get on him, man.
He went the other way.
He's 5'0", 100 and nothing. And he hung in there with one of the best teams in the National Football League.
Ding! Taco Bell.
I don't blame him. He's a kicker, man. What's he going to do?
All right. So the big circumstance that we're talking about mostly, and it's a shame. But when something like this happens, you talk about it. Because people write about it. People are asking about it. A columnist did a column on it today. It was Sirianni. And the behavior that has annoyed people in the past resurfaced because he heard the boos, fire Nick, all that stuff at halftime. And he kept the red ass about it. And so at the end, he points to his ear and cups his ear. And, what do you have to say now? And gloating to the fans that were booing him. And I'm going, come on, dude. What are we, 14? And then the press conference brings his kids up there maybe as a deflection, or maybe he wasn't aware that it would be a deflection or where it would be perceived this way. But I don't know. There's just so much to talk about right now. The Eagles' bottom line is they could go on a winning streak here. And when I look up and they're 6-2, they've taken command of the division.
Yeah, I actually think it's, back to Sirianni, I think it's worse that he didn't have the self-awareness. If he would have done it intentionally, bringing up the kids as a deflection, it would have been bad. I think it's worse that he lacked the self-awareness to know in that moment, this isn't a happy time right now, Nick. This isn't the time to bring up these kids in a press conference. It's not like he just won the NFC Championship. Mm-hmm. To me, that's even worse than if it was an intentional deflection.
All right. It is now time, ladies and gentlemen, for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, Ray, what do we have for the news at noon for today?
All right. I know it's a football Monday here on The Fanatic, but we're starting with some basketball and some awkward NBA TV. I imagine you've seen this one, but Chris Miles attempted a joke at Sam Mitchell's expense Friday night. And those who were tuned into preseason basketball, well, they got something way better than preseason hoops.
I'm surprised coaches get a paycheck for this show. I think maybe you should do this pro bono, my friend.
Last time I looked at my check, it's pretty close. So, hey, I'm taking donations. Why don't you come up off some of that money you got, since you're over there bragging about it?
I'm not bragging about it.
I mean, I'm sorry. Did you rent your beach house out down in Florida during the hurricane? Or do I need to go on? How about your townhouse over in Buckhead?
Hey, what's going on here, Sam?
You want to call me out? I mean, come on.
I think
you screaming broke and hungry. I know what you have and where you live, young fella, so you need to stop.
I think we have snitches on the show today.
No, we don't have snitches. We have
Sam
truth tellers.
Mitchell.
We have truth tellers, so you're the one who crying poor and destitute up here. Do I need to keep going on further, more and more? Or do you want me to stop right now?
Go to this game between the Sacramento Kings and the Golden State Warriors.
You're going to stop messing with me on national TV. I done told you about that. Hey, do I need to give out the address? Because you're not at home right now.
Look at this. A game in Seattle.
Yeah.
Well, man. I think at the end, I thought, contentious. But I thought whoever the first guy is was just trying to quip and bust Stones. And it was a bad attempt at busting Stones. I don't think Sam Mitchell was being serious. I really don't. Everybody talks about Sam Mitchell, says he's a really good guy. And I think he was just trying to go back at the guy who quipped about saying that coaches shouldn't get paid. That he obviously had his tongue in cheek with that, and so I don't think it was malicious. But apparently he gave an address during that whole thing, but it wasn't the guy's address.
Ray, when was this? How many days ago?
A Friday night.
Okay, because on Saturday, Chris Miles posted a video of him and Sam Mitchell joking around on Instagram. So
and I think they posted a video outside of outside the house having fun.
Yeah.
One of them did. So it ended up not being what it looked like, or they've at least done a really good job of making sure it wasn't what it looked like. But a very awkward listen.
It was very awkward, but knowing Sam Mitchell, because I've listened to him before on shows, NBA radio and such, and he's not that type of person. So I think he was just trying to carry the joke out. And then he got a little too carried away with it by the end. He got
a little bit.
Just
a little.
He did. But that's a stupid thing to say. The guy goes, "Well, I don't know if coaches should be paid on the show." Like, that's not.
Yeah.
There's one stuff. Busting onions is one thing, but doing it cleverly, that wasn't clever.
Poor joke.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a lot worse.
All right. What's second?
Speaking of poor take. If this was Colin Cowherd's show, this would be where Colin was wrong, because he posted a video at halftime of USC Penn State. And Mike, I'll just let you enjoy this.
Some of you guys are going to owe Lincoln Riley an apology. I don't know if these Big Ten teams can handle coming out west, the sunshine, the distractions of L.A. Probably not. Look at the halftime score on it. Oh, they're in a commercial. Whatever. I don't hold grudges. Apologies accepted.
I happen to know Colin very well. He's wrong 1,000 times. I mean, really, he gets stuff so wrong. Now, at that point, he's expressing an opinion at halftime, which is fine. As a Penn Stater, I'm not going to get offended by it. But he goes off on tangents that aren't correct. Like, why would we owe Lincoln Riley an apology? And now he's got 3 losses, dude.
a little early to gloat, too.
A little early at halftime. You can't gloat at halftime unless Lincoln Riley's a buddy. I mean, I don't know.
Especially in college football. How many times have you seen games can turn quick?
Yeah. All right, what's the third?
And finally, things are going so well down in Dallas. They now have a diss track out against the Cowboys. This is a fan-recorded diss track on the Cowboys.
Man, here we go again. This team ain't gonna never win. I'm ashamed to be a fan. Got me lying to my friends. Louis Belt straight to ass. That cannot complete a pass. CeeDee Lamb been playing trash. Man, how long is this gonna last? Damn. Get it, Jerry. Yeah. Quit it, Jerry. Retire, Jerry. We gotta fire, Jerry. Boy, you know this team super bad. I ain't lying. Every week we taking belt to ass. That is me. That cannot complete a simple pass. Where he tryna? Man, how long is this gonna last?
What I also need to hear, because Stephen A. does the hysterical laughter when the Cowboys fail. I think he posted another hysterical laughter thing. Maybe we can get to that a little later. It's a mess. Like, you committed that kind of money to a mediocre quarterback. Like, really? I mean, it's one thing if he's a true franchise player, but he's on the margins of that.
Well, they put themselves in a tough spot. They had to pay him. I mean, what was the option? He was just going to walk away this all season, and then they messed that up. They messed that up. It would feel a lot better today if we weren't in the
But that's
complete
why
mess
we
here
need
in
that
Philly.
today. We need that. And thank you to Brendan Petrelli who found that one and sent that to me
That was
yesterday.
good.
He
That
found
was-
that diss track. And
That was the biggest home loss since 1988.
They're not a well-run organization. They're just not. They're all over the place. But who cares? They're not. The Washington Commanders are the Eagles' main competition right now. Jeez, I never thought I'd say that. 610-632-0975. Two lines are open if you want to grab them. We've been busy all day. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Show, 97.5, The Fanatic on a post-game win.
Doesn't feel like it, though.
This is a win. And it was a good win. Well, it was a win. They outlasted the other team, a bad football team. But, we're consumed with all this other stuff. And I kind of feel bad that we're not focusing on the things they did well. But I watched the game, and I'm going, they come out of a bye, and they look starchless. And they get into the red zone, and they did enough to win. They made enough big plays to win. The defense, I thought, was really good. But weird stuff goes on. And this guy, the head coach, gloating because they got a win because people were disgruntled. I mean, you have to be a professional. People are going to get disgruntled. They're Eagle fans. They can turn at the drop of a pin. You can't let that get to you, start cupping your ear at the end. I don't understand. He's a grown man, this guy.
I know, Mike. I've got nothing. I got nothing.
Like, some idiot like me, I could do that. He's a leader, supposed to be a leader of men. I'm not a leader of men. I'm just a lead. I can't even lead you.
Hey, well, look, I've seen people on Twitter, some who have taken the opposite approach of most. Most people are saying Sirianni's a clown. I've seen some say, well, if the fans are going to give it to him, he should be able to give it back to the fans. No.
See, that's the thing. Like, who has that kind of viewpoint? Since Johnny from Juniata is going to give you a hard time by booing you. Like, why would you have to go back at Johnny from Juniata? It doesn't. You got a W. You got the win. All right. People were disgruntled, and you can go home and rest your head on a pillow with your kids and have fun tonight. And you got to win. What do you care about Johnny from Juniata?
And it's not behavior that is becoming of an NFL head coach. There are 32 NFL head coaches in the world. You have to be above what the guy behind you in the stands is screaming. You can't do it. Like, I actually don't have a problem when Sirianni shows a little emotion on the sidelines. But this, come on, man. And then bringing the kids to the press conference. It just was a very bad look for Sirianni and the Eagles organization. They cannot be happy today. And we should be talking about some of the positives. And granted, it wasn't a perfect game, but there were positives.
Yeah, I got to hear Nick Sirianni Ray. Trying to explain this away. Here it is.
I was having fun, and I kind of got some feedback from the guys. Is the sense of like, we need you back, Nick. We need your energy. We need your focus. We need your I've gotten that from a couple players, and when I'm operating and having fun, I think that breeds to the rest of the football team. If I want the guys to celebrate and be themselves after big plays, then I should probably do that myself. Now, there's times for that, and there's times not for that. I have to have wisdom and discernment of when to do that and when not to do that. But, I think 21, I was kind of talking back and forth with 21 and 0.
All right, where was the wisdom on the ear point to the crowd? Like, where's that wisdom? Now, a player, we saw Jalen Carter do it to the Saints fans. I get it. Players can be immature like that. Where's the wisdom in doing that?
There isn't any.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, where's the wisdom? Like, are you bonding with your players because, look, Nick would have done the same thing we did? Is that like what he's thinking?
If you look at the replay of him doing that to the crowd, like Brandon Graham is laughing, but it's just, it's not what you expect from a head coach. It isn't. It's not what you expect from a head coach. I mean, maybe if I was in high school and my coach was doing something like that, maybe I would find it funny as a high school kid. But when you're a leader of grown men, I just...
See, that doesn't even work on a high school level because it's a bad lesson to kids.
Yeah, it's a bad lesson. It is.
All right, let's go to Ike and Glenside. Ike, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Ike?
Hi, Mike. How you doing?
Good,
Thanks
Ike.
for
How you
having
doing?
Me. Missed you on the radio. Just wanted to say you're the essence of sports talk in Philly.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that.
But
I don't know about the essence.
Yeah. Well, the intrinsic nature of good sports talk.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyway, I've listened, and I really didn't want to comment, but when I saw he had the children on the interview, I said, I thought that was over last year. And I think we all have the right to ask why the children. I think it takes away from the dignity of the sport, not that children shouldn't watch the game, but this is like the gentleman just said. There are 32 NFL coaches, and his behavior, in my opinion, appears as though he's lost perspective.
Yeah, I agree. Like, what did he think was going to happen in that session? Happy talk? Bring the kids out, let's celebrate some happy talk because they won? If he thought that, then he's totally has no self-awareness.
Exactly. So if we could pick up on that, what do you think the players pick up on? What do you think the fans pick up on? And yes, they deserve the right to boo.
Well, that was my fear when they hired him. That this eventually would wear out, and if it turns, then he's not going to get the support. And you saw what's happened with this fan base. They can't wait for him to make a mistake now. You know, and all he did was poke the bear a little more.
Yeah, I've always been an Eagles fan, and I must admit he doesn't bring the dignity of a Dick Vermeil, even an old Norm Van Brocklin.
The Dutchman.
Say what?
The Dutchman, Norm Van Brocklin. When men were men. Gary Cooper.
That's how far back I go.
Yeah.
When smoking was cool. Back in the day.
Joe DiMaggio for Camel Unfiltered.
Yeah. See, here's the thing, and that was a good call. He made a lot of good points in there. But I have been one to defend Nick Sirianni to say he's being authentic. He's being himself. But at the same time, you have to know the time and the place. Just because you're authentic, for instance, guy I am is I curse a lot off the air, so I'm going to curse on the air. No, you don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, Sirianni, just because this is your personality, you got to have some restraint.
I hate to keep coming back with the soundbite. We'll come back with it later this hour because I want people to breathe a little bit. But the soundbite when he was asked, why are your kids here? And the answer that comes, like, I can't get over it. I really can't. All right, so let's take a break. 610-632-0975. Tim McManus is going to join us. So we're talking about a reporter who is in there, sees the kids, what that does to a reporter, and the mindset of what he needs to ask the head coach. You don't want to miss Tim McManus. He's coming up next after this. Missanelli Show. Very active day today. And wait. Oh, yeah. The great song to introduce our next guest, who walks into a press conference and sees daycare. He, of course, is the man who covers the Eagles for ESPN.com. Tim McManus joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Hello, Timmy.
What's up, Mike? An all-timer yesterday.
Timmy, let me ask you this question because, okay, now they win, but he creates a couple of issues that are going to need to be asked about, right? So he comes into the presser with his children, young children in tow. As a reporter, what was your reaction to that initially?
So I had like a physical negative reaction, if I'm being totally honest. Like I was like just wanted to say no. You know, in fact, I came kind of close to saying something because it just, as a lot of people I think have expressed in the hours since, it just didn't feel right. Like it didn't match the moment. It didn't match the tone. There was plenty that needed to be asked. And so I was going to express myself as they walked in, but the reason that I didn't is because I didn't want to make the kids feel bad. Honestly, right? So it's like I don't want to do that to them. So we're just going to ride it out. But maybe that helps understand the overall tone of the press conference of where there would have been. It's not like he would have gotten grilled yesterday because they did win, but there were definitely substantive issues to get into, including the fact of like, you know, part of the crowd is cheering "Fire Nick," like, but you're not going to ask that in front of his kids. So it obviously set a very strange tone, and I think that's the overwhelming sense that I got is that it, like from the kids being there to the way that Sirianni was acting, felt tone deaf to me.
So he didn't do it intentionally as a shield. It was just a lack of awareness, or did he do it purposely?
I mean, I don't know for sure. I have a working theory that, of course, a lot of people have run with the idea that they were there to shield the tough questions. The working theory that I have, Mike, is that so the players told him basically be your authentic self when you go out there, and boy was he his authentic self. You know, he's yelling at the defensive backs, and he's barking at the refs, and of course he's going after the fans at the end of the game. And it's almost like somebody turned the spigot on, and I feel like he was in a different place sort of emotionally and mentally than like the collective group was, that the players were, that the fans were, and was still in like this state of emoting where it felt, you know, like, oh, I should have my family with me, and I just have all these feelings flowing through me. Like that's what it felt like more to me, like, because the fact that they would act as a shield kind of runs counter to what Sirianni has been trying to do all season and was even doing in that press conference, which has been like being the shield for the rest of the team, where he's taking like ownership of bad plays that were called and this, that, and the other thing. So I don't know that those two things fully match up for me. But however you slice it, it obviously just didn't match the moment.
All right. So listen, you cover the NFL. You see how coaches operate in the NFL, leaders of a team with a lot of different personalities, grown men. Is this the kind of thing, like in reading how the team reacts to this when he comes out and says, yeah, they want me to be me, do they really? Like, is this what they want inside the locker room? Are they looking at this guy like he's a leader of men, but he does it this way?
So I feel like the sentiment generally in the locker room is positive towards Sirianni. I feel like people like the fact that, you know, he does go to bat for them, you know, that he is emotionally invested, you know, very strong on connecting and messaging and doing right by them. And so I feel like generally they do have his back. To me, it's more of a question of, okay, so the players say be your authentic self. And I think that's like a good view to have. Like, you shouldn't fake who you are, even though Jeffrey Lurie during the offseason, like mentioned during his annual press conference, like sometimes Sirianni gets a little carried away and that can be counterproductive. And so clearly the messaging was there of like, you got to tone it down a little bit. And he did tone it down a little bit. And then the players gave him the green light and he took it. And so I think it's fine, Mike, to be your authentic self. I think the question is that is being your authentic self matching what the job description is as a CEO coach? Is Sirianni cut out for that role. Because when I think of CEO coach, I think of steady hand, man. Like I think of the guy who's got the 30,000-foot view, and the perspective is one that's like a overarching. You're cool, calm, and collected, making sure that the operation is totally buttoned up and efficient, and that's not how this feels. Sirianni has been all over the place. And that's from like his sideline behavior. We saw two very different extremes from the first handful of games to what we saw last night. His decision making in game has been all over the map. Like there's no real rhyme or reason that we can really like hone in on. And so, is Sirianni cut out for this role? I think that's a fair question.
I think it's really interesting that the owner preached emotional intelligence, and my man's cupping his ear to the crowd. So do you have any hints right now on how the organization is feeling about what happened yesterday? And conversely, is Sirianni in a mode where he says, I don't give a crap?
Well, I can tell you, I don't know what Lori is thinking. I can tell you that there's definitely people in the organization that felt like that whole sequence from the end of the game through the press conference wasn't good. I think that's recognized. Is Sirianni kind of in like, I'm doing it my way because, my butt's on the line anyway? Possibly he could be angling towards that. But from Lori's perspective, I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes right now. And this was, granted, it wasn't a great win, but I think today the conversation would have been like, yeah, it was like unsatisfying, but here's some negatives, and then here's some positives. Like here's Cooper DeJean and the 5 sacks and the 10 quarterback hits. And how about Brandon Graham in his 200th game coming up with some big plays? How about A.J. Brown, man? What a difference maker A.J. Brown is. All that stuff just got totally squashed because Sirianni was acting the way that he was acting and did what he did. And if I'm the owner and I'm looking at that, there's a lot of people that have been talking about, it's just kind of embarrassing. Is this embarrassing for the owner? It's hard to look at it and not say, yeah, to some degree it has to be.
Yeah, Tim, because we know Philadelphia could be a tough place, fans, media, but this has taken a national toll now. You got it everywhere where they're saying Sirianni's a clown and he's embarrassed. I can't imagine the organization is happy. But let me ask you, you said when he walked into that press conference, you were ready to say no with the kids. Where was Bob Lang? Where was Big Dom? And where was everyone else? Did you see them try to say, hey, Nick, whoa, this isn't the time and place, man?
I did not see anybody trying to say that, and I think it's right to point out that maybe Sirianni was in a different headspace and needed to be guided towards what the right thing to do in that moment was. And I don't know if those conversations were had and he just ran through a red light, but, it does fall in some circumstances on the people around him, and PR being a big part of that to say, listen, I understand what you want here, but it's, the questions are probably going to be a little bit tough. The atmosphere might be not exactly what you think you're walking into, so maybe we should, they should hang back in this one. And clearly that didn't happen.
Talking to Tim McManus, ESPN. Tim, last question for me is this. Because you had a human instinct when you first came on here, and you said you saw the kids, and you weren't going to ask him about the fire Nick chance because you're a human being. You're a reporter. Right. I know you have to get an answer, but what I'm saying, it quells you as a reporter because those kids are there. And that, to me, is the whole essence of why they shouldn't be there.
That's 100% correct. And if maybe it's a little bit different, I'm generally not of the opinion that I think that people should be bringing their kids out into that environment. I understand that it's different if you just won the NFC East or you just had you're 7-0 and you just stomped somebody 35-0. Like that I get, because the question is, what are we going to ask? It's like, how good is Jalen Hurts? It's a little bit tougher. I love my kids. I have 3 kids too, Mike, but I don't bring them to work. You know what I'm saying?
I was saying earlier, Steph Curry brought that little girl out there and they won the NBA championship, and everybody thought it was cute. But as a rule, it's like, put yourself in a reporter's mindset there.
Yeah, and I know most people they don't care about
they don't.
Which is cool. I totally understand that, but I think it's more about we're obviously trying to get the substantive matters, and so I don't think it's right because that doesn't allow us to do our job, which is to relay, what we feel should be, the proper questions in that environment so that the fans can get the answers that they're looking for. Like, that's how I look at it. It's like, it's not a woe is me thing. I don't care about all that. Yeah. But for the fans' sake, I just didn't think it was right.
I hear you. Tim, thank you for popping on. We really appreciate it. You gave us some great insight. Thank you.
Of course. See you, boys.
Tim McManus, covering the Eagles for ESPN.com. So, so the natural inclination is, oh, my God, he's got a shield. I can't, I'm going to look like an idiot if I press this part. And it's not right.
It's not right. But what's more concerning to me is that Tim's sitting there, and he knows as soon as he sees the kids, whoa, no. You can't do that.
That's awkward. This is not the time for that.
But how does Sirianni, and I don't think it was intentional. I think he lacked the self-awareness to read the moment and know it wasn't appropriate.
If he's not that much of a lack of self-awareness, what the hell is he doing as a head football coach in the NFL with a major market team? That doesn't resonate with me at all.
I'm starting to come to your side of the aisle, man.
Let's go to Bill. He's in Utah. What's up, Bill?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
How you doing, Bill?
Oh, good. So out here, I didn't get to see the game. I don't have the package because I opted to get the NHL one instead. But my comment is this: I think that was planned, bringing out the kids. I mean, if you want to avoid the hard questions, I mean that's what you do, and that's what he did. I got no problem with him chanting back with the fans. I mean, if you give it, you better take it.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Not with fans. Fans are fans. A lot of them are idiots.
I'm talking about if you're taunting each other, like you're having fun. You're in that moment, not retaliating.
But that's not professional. Is that professional?
I said if you're on the same page and you're having fun, you're like, you know what I'm saying?
But that wasn't the case. They were saying, fire Nick. He was antagonizing them.
And that's why I said, I didn't like the move, but I'm okay with it when it's like in the moment they're having fun, they're making fun of each other, taunting each other. It's like humor, it's fun.
Right.
I'm not saying last night was the case. I'm saying that. Well, my other thing is that thing was totally planned, and the guy's gonna get fired. My problem is I think he's too immature to be a head coach in the NFL. He's got some growing up to do. Unfortunately, he's a grown man, but.
Well, I agree. I agree with you. I think that you're right on board that he's too immature. This has been my whole thing. I don't see him as the CEO of a football program, big time NFL football program. I don't know. It's just.
I'm with you on this. Like the caller saying, "Oh, he's just he's having fun with the fans. He's just giving it back to them a little bit." Once again. As the CEO head coach, you need to be able to
be above that.
And you got to understand the moment. Whereas maybe there's a time and a place where you could have some fun with the fans and you're kidding around or doing whatever. This wasn't one of them, man. I keep going back to, I mentioned this to you off the air. 2 years ago, Howie Roseman, I think it was against the Houston Texans in Houston, there was an Eagles fan holding up a sign that says, "We forgive you, Howie." And he goes over to them and says, "You forgive me? Bleep you. I brought you your first Super Bowl."
Yeah.
It was taken a little bit better because it was a different moment. It was pregame. The Eagles were doing really well. There wasn't that outrage. Sirianni's got to read the room, man. It is. It's making me concerned.
Maybe that's the example that he thought gave him carte blanche to do that. I don't know.
I mean,
Roseman tried to do it like he wasn't serious, but he was deadly serious.
Dead serious.
When he did that.
And he told the fan to go bleep himself.
Yes.
A little bit worse.
Right.
But it wasn't received that way.
I know the coaches, maybe general manager, take a lot of heat, want to do that. I get it. They just can't because nothing good comes out of it for those guys. They can't. It only makes them look petty.
It does. You got to be above it.
All right, let's go to Al in Manioc. Al, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Al.
Hey, guys. Great show. And just thought Tim McManus' insights were just really spot on and awesome. And as a dad, as a teacher, I was just feeling all kinds of cringy emotions seeing him parade his kids up there. Like, your job is to protect your kids. And to put them up there as a shield was just completely passive-aggressive and unprofessional.
I don't think he's smart enough to figure that whole thing out that he wants to bring them up as a shield. I actually think he thought it would be cute, and that's worse. That's worse because if you bring them up as a shield, at least you're diabolical and you have a plan about something.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
See, but I think that's the thing. I think that whole goofy shtick is his like diabolical passive aggressive behavior, where it's like he's been using that, it's been getting in the head, and I think now everything's like everyone's seen him for how he really is, and as like what does the owner think about that? Like your team, your coach is on blast on national media, and this is not the gold standard that Jeffrey Lurie talks about, and I'd be shocked to see if he can finish this year if his antics continue, because
I think he's going to finish the year because they got wins coming up. So they're not, once they get to 5-3 or 6-2 even, they're not going to be talking about firing him. Now we'll see where it leads. If at the end they make the playoffs and lose in the first round, then maybe they'll be. But he's pretty much, because of this schedule, unless I completely misread how good they are against the teams they're going to be playing, because I just see Cincinnati maybe as a loss, and they're not going to lose to the Giants.
You would think not. I think right now they're a 4-point favorite up in the Meadowlands already. But
all right, let's go to the HR Godfather on a cell. What's up, HR?
Hey, Mike. I want to bring the conversation back to the perspective that I have as somebody who has done many executive searches in my career. And one of the first things that a client talks to you about, and if they don't, you raise it with them, is the culture of the organization. So we know that an NFL franchise is a big business, a major business in a town that loves its Philadelphia Eagles. We know that Jeff Lurie has always been fairly measured in how he speaks to the media, and that Howie Roseman, fans would say he's clever in how he speaks to the media. His criticizers would say he's a little too slick. I can't believe that they wouldn't do something that all executive searches include. Look what they do with the players before they draft them. For coaches, I can't believe that they don't do some sort of emotional intelligence.
Well, I think they do. I think they came to the conclusion with their analysis that when they hired him, that this is what the organization needed and that they had discovered this gem.
But that isn't that a reflection? If that is in fact true, isn't that a reflection that too often our ownership thinks that they're smarter than all the other owners? And
but they keep relying on the Andy Reid thing, HR. We found Andy Reid, so our analysis must be pristine. I think that's what they've always relied on. They've made mistakes. They made a terrible mistake with Chip Kelly. They made a mistake with Ray Rhodes. They found that they made a mistake with Doug Peterson, but they believe the Andy Reid principle carries them.
Nick sometimes makes Doug Peterson look like he should still be here. I mean, it is a shame because, quite honestly, enthusiasm is a good thing, but emotional intelligence tells you when you can and when you cannot do certain things.
Yeah, no, I agree. Maybe they backed off the emotional intelligence part when they hired him, because I remember saying distinctly, "Are you kidding me? This guy's happy horse bleep, and I'm an owner. Like I can't hire this guy. He's like too over the top, immature. Like he talks in these high school parables, and I thought it was silly when they hired him. Now, I couldn't argue with the success that they had, and I go, well, you know what? I don't know what I'm talking about. But this whole thing is now resurfaced again.
It has, but we can't ignore the fact that this has been a very successful organization. Saying that the caller saying they think they outsmart all the other owners. I mean, they've been one of the most successful organizations in the NFL under Lurie's tenure. They've been probably the most successful organization in the city of Philadelphia, especially now with the Phillies falling short again. So, yeah, I mean, I don't love everything that they do, but it's hard to be angry at Lurie. And you said Doug Peterson was a mistake. No, it wasn't. Won a Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni, maybe it's a mistake now, brought him to a Super Bowl. So, I mean, yeah, hindsight 2020, after the fact, well, yeah, Doug Peterson wasn't a great coach. They won a Super Bowl. That's all you could ask for. So I don't know. I mean, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, they do usually get it right when it comes to hiring
Maybe they
coaches.
hit on temps. Maybe they're good at hitting on temps, but not for the long haul.
That's the biggest thing right now. Do they have something set up inside of that building for sustained success?
It's a good
Peterson
question.
was a temp. This guy is a temp. I don't think he's going to achieve the success that he achieved 2 years ago. 610-632-0975. We're going to roll into the 1 o'clock hour. It's still a lot of people. I'm really enjoying the conversation today, so I would give a shout out to the callers. You bring good stuff to the table. It's Mike Missanelli Show back after this. adequate enough coach to lead an NFL team to some kind of a lofty plateau. And to that, I think not. It is such low-hanging fruit. It's so obvious to rip into Sirianni for how he handled the aftermath of yesterday's win over the Browns. It's weak, it's fake, it's insulting to the reporters in there. Now, does anyone out there believe that this Dennis the Menace can be a real leader of men? A real leader of an NFL football team?
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
The game was not as close as the scoreboard indicated. It just wasn't. The Eagles dominated in every facet of that game outside of a blocked field goal for a touchdown. You take that away, this is not a close game. And it never felt like, I watched that entire game, it never felt like they were going to lose.
It's not a close game when you dominate a scoreboard. That's what's not a close game.
I never felt like there was a chance the Eagles lost that game.
I didn't think so either, but that doesn't mean it's impressive. I'm looking at a big picture here. I'm looking at how good is this team? Do they look like a really good team? Do they look like a well-coached team? And I don't come to a conclusion yes on either point.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
It's a 1 o'clock hour. It's brought to you by Ferguson HVAC, Lyon Conklin, Tension HVAC Contractors. For equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job, just visit one of Ferguson's counter locations at Bensalem, King of Prussia, Pensacola, or Westchester. Also, Football Monday. And it's brought to you by Pierce Phelps Bryant Heating and Air Conditioning. Visit nopaybryant.com. Yeah, it was a good win. They did what they were supposed to do, although they didn't win by the double digits like I thought they would or should have. I actually picked the Eagles as one of my plays. Didn't come to pass. Defense played very well. The offense was fairly anemic early on, but the defense was stoic. Cooper DeJean with a solid start. Quinion Mitchell continuing good play. Hurts was way efficient in this game. Great quarterback rating. He had a few key throws, the big one being the 40-yarder that clinched the game to A.J. But, for most of the game, I just thought the Eagles looked very ordinary. And I tweeted that during the game. I go, did the Eagles look like a well-coached team to you? Just asking. I never thought they were going to lose. As we talked about in the argument at the top of this hour. But this head coach, I just can't get to the other side with the head coach. And it doesn't matter, like I said, it doesn't matter whether I like him or not. I'm concerned whether he is mature enough to lead a big market NFL team in a really tough league. And so when you taunt fans afterwards, and you've been criticized for that in the past, it just looks like you're a child. You got to have some kind of emotional intelligence. And then you come into the press conference with kids and you're unaware that's going to shield you, or you thought that was a good idea. I don't know. Listen, the Eagles should be able to win 2 of the next 3 games, if not all 3. And then maybe people will be on board. But I'm just not feeling this team with this coach. Now, can this team be good enough to overcome this head coach? Maybe they can. I don't know. It seems like they could possibly win the division because it's not a great division, and if the Washington Commanders are your chief competition, I think you're better than the Washington Commanders. So, like all this complaining could be for naught, Bill.
I would like to be positive and agree and say maybe it is going to be for naught, but part of the reason I was okay with Sirianni coming back and I defended him is because I said I think he can be a CEO coach, and I compared him to some other CEO coaches and said, look, it works for Dan Campbell. It works for John Harbaugh. It works for these guys who don't call plays on either side of the football. You can't act like this as a CEO coach. And as much as I would love to defend the guy because I look wrong right now in saying they should have brought him back as a CEO, when you act like this on the sidelines and you lack the self-awareness to understand the moment, and then you do what he did in the press conference, it is having me question whether or not this team can be successful, the ultimate success of winning a Super Bowl with him as the CEO coach. And we should be talking about the positives of the game. We should be talking about, hey, look, this was an improvement. But instead, we're here on a Monday, and we spent 3.5 hours now talking about the head coach's behavior.
And there are other things going on. Like, for instance, your hockey season opened up. I know you were excited about that, to see him in Vancouver get a dub. in a shootout, and then they lost it the next night.
Hit it again, Ray.
In Calgary.
Hit it again.
And meanwhile, the Sixers have ruled them beat out for the rest of the preseason.
That was a news dump like I've never seen from our 76ers right there.
And you like it.
Well, I love the Flyers.
You like the fact that I don't care if Embiid doesn't play all season as long as he's ready for the playoffs. Well,
I'm okay with the load management.
I'm a little more concerned.
That concerned me. The fact that it was a news dump. When did they release that news, Ray?
Literally in the midst of the Eagles game.
Yeah.
I mean, the best thing that happened to the Sixers was Nick Sirianni. Because we're not talking about Joel Embiid now. We're talking about Nick Sirianni's behavior.
This season will get here soon enough, and we'll have a real team to look at instead of this. I actually watched some of that preseason game against the Celtics.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. They were just lifting their leg on them.
You didn't turn that off?
Embarrassing. Come on, man. You can't live by 50.
No, they didn't have any starters, right? Who played in that game? Nobody, right?
No, nobody played for the Sixers.
I saw Celtics accounts posting like, oh, this guy looked good. It's like, dude, you're playing against the Blue Coats. No disrespect, but a little like, come on. Figure out where you're here.
They were just pouring it on him, too.
Sad.
Let's go to Larry in New Jersey. Larry, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Larry.
Michael, I couldn't sleep last night, I swear. I was tossing and turning all last night. I thought I was imagining some of the stuff that happened yesterday. I had to keep checking the TV.
Well, they won the game, Larry. They won.
I know, but I was there. It didn't feel like a win. The tension in the crowd was there. After the game, like everybody hung in there till the end, pretty much, until we got that big play after AJ and the 2-minute one, and it was over. Like, people are leaving the stadium in droves, and usually there's high fives and cheering, and, people are fired up. People are like, what the heck? Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I noticed that the crowd had to be on their hands a little bit. They weren't really into the game because the Eagles, I don't think, had any chance to lose that game. I really didn't think they were going to lose, and I think you didn't think they were going to lose either. But it was the methodology of the way the game proceeded. It's like, what is this team?
Right, exactly. And we are Nick is the laughing stock of the sports world this morning. Since you've been on the air, there was a guy on a national TV station dressed up as Nick, mocking him, and the announcers were giving him a press conference, quote unquote, and he was giving.
What was that? What show was that?
I think it was McAfee.
Oh,
McAfee on ESPN.
Okay.
It was a joke, Mike. Over the course of mine and my dad's lifetime, we've spent over $100,000 on tickets only to the Eagles. If I want to stand on my head and spit wooden nickels and boo every other word, I have that right. The coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, complained about fans booing. Is he crazy?
Does he not know you can't win?
It's not about money.
You can't win when you do so. Like, who are you going to win? Like, the guy you're mocking is going to go back and tell his friends how he got to you. Right? Like, you're not going to have the majority of the crowd behind you that, oh, yeah, I'm glad he stuck up for himself because of these fans that give him they're just fans. They're just fans. They're not that important to what you're trying to accomplish as the head coach of a football team. So why would you engage them?
He should never engage them, but if I'm playing devil's advocate and saying that, okay, maybe there's a situation where he should, it wasn't yesterday. It wasn't when you come out of the bye and you win 20-16, where the game really did come down to the end, even though neither one of us thought they were ever going to lose. This wasn't the game to gloat.
You can't them when you just you beat an inferior team that you were supposed to beat, and you didn't cover a spread. That's not a no. You can't do that.
That's why what he did to the fans at the end of the game is the reason why I also think it wasn't intentional bringing the kids as a shield to the post-game press conference. It was a lack of self-awareness in both situations. He had no idea that the fans weren't going to be as excited as he was about this win. He didn't realize it.
Are you kidding me? That says everything about the guy.
Exactly. That's why I'm not happy today that I've been defending him for damn 6 months.
I got to hear it again. The question was, why bring your kids up there? And here's what he had to say.
Is why me and my brothers are like, I'm going to get emotional. This game is why my brothers and I are so close, and my dad and I are so close, and my mom is a football mom. Like, this game means so much to me, and it's like, why do I have them here? Because I have so many visions of what made me love this game. Being at Southwestern High School when I was there, these guys' age. AJ came to one of his baseball games. Like these guys are gonna love AJ for their life. Jalen gave him a jersey last year that you have in their room. Like I want these and so it's so important to me that Taylor will be the only one that doesn't play football, but it's so unless you want to, baby. All right, but it's so important to me that they fall in love with this game the way I fall in love with this game. They have school when we practice. Like it's not like high school football. They are able to. This is the moments I can we're gonna go on the field after this and play catch together. Like these are the moments that they're gonna remember football games.
Listen, I'm pretty sure that that's the way he sounded in the interview with Laurie and Banner. And I go, you hire this? If I'm Laurie, this guy comes in with that. I go, oh, that's really nice. Here's a lollipop on your way out, Skippy. Hiram's the head coach. That's a lollipop out of a barber chair. 610-632-0975. We're back after this. we'll get back to the angst of the Philadelphia Eagles and the head coach in a second, but I want to put this out there because today, after the show, I will be having another episode, recording another episode of my podcast, The Coldest Murder. And my guest today will be the Bucks County District Attorney, Jen Shorn, who is in charge of this whole investigative case. Now, as you know, my Bill, and you've been following along, the people who've been following along the case, my aim in this was to get enough enlightenment on this cold case murder, which has been a cold case for 62 years, of the 9-year-old girl in the Catholic Church, to get awareness enough to where new sophisticated DNA methods would be able to determine who the killer was. So today, a story broke in the Bucks County Courier-Times that says the Pennsylvania State Police, assisted by the Bucks County District Attorney Office, will submit DNA believed to be from the killer to a Texas-based lab that specializes in solving cold case murders. Testing and research could take up to a year, and identifying the perp is not guaranteed, said DA Jennifer Shorn, but state investigators believe developments in forensic DNA testing combined with the genealogical sleuthing, which is where they get the DNA from the suspect's relatives, is the best chance to reveal who raped and strangled 9-year-old Carol Ann Doherty at St. Mark's Church in Bristol on October 22nd, 1962.
Amazing, man. I mean, really, this is incredible. Mission accomplished. I know you still got a lot to do, but pretty impressive, Michael.
Listen. The story goes on to say that they're going to this Texas-based company, and that the cost might be like $50,000, but special grants and private credits from these labs in Woodlands, Texas, covered the cost. So apparently, the DNA is going to be tested, and this was the holdup. I was trying to get enough awareness to get funding for it.
It's incredible, and she's coming on your podcast this afternoon.
She will be my guest today on the podcast.
It's awesome.
So that will be the next episode, which will be released a couple days later. So interesting development today.
It is an interesting development. See, everyone thought Mike Missanelli was just a sports talk host. Look at you, solving murders now.
Just a sports schmo ripping into head coaches.
People on the YouTube, as soon as you brought her up, said, "Can she arrest Nick Sirianni?" That's what's going on YouTube.
I might ask her. See, I've been going back and forth. She's a big sports fan, and her last message to me was "Go Phils," and that didn't quite work out. All right, let's go back to the phone. Let's cut to Joe in Harleysville. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Michael, you just disarmed me with this fantastic story. You know, that's more important than sports, by the way.
Well, sports is very important to people. This was just a side project that I've always wanted to do something with, and I dug into it, and hopefully it leads to at least the conclusion of closure.
Well, congratulations. That's tremendous. First of all, I want to say I'm older than all of you. Oh my goodness, and I forgot to welcome you back. It's a pleasure to hear your voice when I can.
Thanks, Jim.
I'm older than most of you, so I go back to when head coaches had decorum and acted as leaders, not cheerleaders. You know, and I don't know. It seems to be a byproduct of how society is with drawing attention to yourselves and things like that.
I don't know. The cheerleaders win. Like Todd McVeigh is kind of a cheerleader, right? He's been fairly successful. Yes. You know, I just don't know that it works to an extent where you show immaturity. And I think this is when you taunt fans, that's immature.
You know, and as during your interview with Tim McManus, you hit it right on the head, where when he brings his children up onto the stage, it disarms the reporters.
Yeah, then Tim admitted. Who's going to ask him? Yeah, who's going to ask him? What about the fire Nick chance in front of his kid? Like, it's hard to get past that.
Right. So, I've I remember when he first did this, I had mixed feelings about it, and then I just thought, you gotta act your age, man. Come on, I wanted to be a hot dog when I played baseball back in the late 60s, early to late 60s. And my father one day broke my rear end because I flipped the bat like Willie Montanez.
Yeah, well, we don't have those fathers anymore. In fact, the fathers who coach Little League encourage that anymore. And so I know it's a new world. I don't understand, like, the mindset of how he thinks that, like, he went behind the veil of they want me to be me. But where do you go, well, wait a minute, okay, but that's, like, how do you not have the awareness that that's ridiculous? They want me to be me. Well, so me is, as a CEO, head coach of a football team in a major market, that me is taunting some dopey fan who's been giving me the business? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, how your mindset has to get to a point where there's got to be a filter in your brain. It goes, yeah, I get it, I want to be me, but I can't be that.
Yeah. You can be authentic and say, but my authenticity is going to stop when I'm going to be an idiot.
And you got to know where it stops. And the fact that he doesn't is disturbing to me.
It's disturbing to me, too.
Laura in Rockledge, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Laura.
Michael.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes, ma'am.
Ray. What's going on?
How you doing?
I'm okay. So, first of all, Nick, did you want us to, like, throw a parade today because you barely beat the Browns? I mean, really? You barely beat the Browns, by the way. Secondly, is it possible that he perhaps did this intentionally, thinking like, well, crap on a cracker, if we do lose this game, I'm definitely getting fired, so I better bring the kids just in case. Because any way you slice this pie, he's an idiot. I mean, either
that's what his thought was, Laura. He could always change it in mid-flight and say, it's not a good idea to bring up the kids. Like, he still has control of that.
Either you did it intentionally, which is messed up on so many levels,
or
think you're really that clueless.
Yeah, I think he's that clueless.
What?
I really think he's that clueless. I think he
Anyway, we have a problem here. It's not good.
Yeah, I thought he thought it was going to be cute, that they were going to talk about a win, and his kids were there talking about the win.
I don't want to have to carry a lollipop in my pocket every time I see you, just in case your damn kids are with you. No.
The lollipop.
No, I do not.
The lollipop. I used to get it after a haircut.
Ray still does. Oh, taking a shot.
At least I have hair to cut.
Oh, lollipop after a haircut.
That used to be nice. I used to always like the lollipop in the drive-thru at the bank as well. I used to ask my mom, "Can you ask them to put a lollipop?" Remember they would put it in the thing that comes down. They still do that?
I used to get the industrial bag lollipop. That's what we call it. Like, I would even get the Dum Dum. Like, you get a Dum Dum, you're getting an interesting flavor.
Yeah, what was your go-to flavor with the Dum Dums?
I don't remember because I didn't get them. I got the generic ones from the barbershop. I didn't get the Dum Dum. I didn't like Dum Dum. Was like I discovered oil.
I like the Dum Dum
later in life
with the question mark on it. You don't know what you're going to get.
Hated those.
610-632-0975. What a day. The Mike Missanelli Show continues. show. I took a ride to the beach on Saturday, and do you know what the nightmare of the Schuylkill Expressway is? It's closed down. The Schuylkill Expressway is closed down on a busy Saturday to get through to the Walt Whitman Bridge. And unbeknownst to me, I was in traffic for more than an hour just getting to the bridge from the 30th Street area. They had it literally shut down, and you can't go any further. You have to go off of Grace Ferry exit and come all the way around and back, and then the line is like, it was unbelievable.
I don't really have sympathy for it.
Everybody was in that jam this weekend. I just bopped down the shore. It took me like 3.5 hours to get to the shore.
Was it normally take you 2?
An hour and a half.
Jeez. Yeah, that's a lot. Yesterday, trying to get out, because we did our pregame show at Xfinity, and then I jump in the car and try to get home and then catch up through DVR with the game. Trying to get out of there yesterday was a disaster. I could not get over it. There's nobody helping.
I don't know. Listen, I think they're paving it. But on a Saturday day?
But they can't do it during the week, I guess.
Well, they can do it at night, can't they?
Yeah, that's when they should do it, overnight.
All right, let's go to Leonard in Philly. Leonard, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Leonard.
Hey, guys, I've been waiting to get in. Like, I know exactly. Mike, I would actually pay you just to hear what you really thought of Sirianni. Seriously, I would really pay.
I pretty much have told you that I don't like him a little bit. And I would not have brought him back as the head coach.
Exactly. In other words, but Bill. Yesterday, the game was Exhibit A through Z as to why he has to go. And I'm trying to understand. I understand Bill is very positive, but Bill, do you agree that yesterday was Sirianni from the not scoring again in the first quarter to just sloppy offense to his post-game conference to him shaving his head? And I'm really thinking that he's crying out for help. I really think that he cannot take coaching and his ego being affected and joining with the fans. I really think he's crying out for help, saying I really think we need to let him go. I mean, I thought yesterday that Bill could confirm that for us today.
Yeah, he's not going to be let go, Leonard, because they're going to win some games. Like he's
they're in a tough spot, the Eagles organization, because even if they wanted to move on from him, I don't think you can.
No, they can't. You can't. Like
not during the year. I'm talking.
Oh, at the end of the year. Well, let's look at this though. The division is what? So they win the division, they get into the playoffs, get a favorable seed. Now you're going to fire him?
Wait, do you really think he's going to? Do you really think, based on yesterday and his decision making, that he's going to be able to lead us to the only?
Who's going to win the division? This division, who's going to win it?
Fine, we'll win a division. We're not trying to win a division.
My point is, if you win a division and you get into the playoffs, you're probably going to keep your job. You have to have a meltdown. Like for him to lose his job, they would have to miss the playoffs.
Talking about we're the laughing stock of the NFL right now. It's embarrassing.
The laughing stock of the NFL could be 6-2 after 8 games. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're saying, but you got to look at the reality of it. They would have to lose to a lousy team to put more heat on the guy. And I go, are they going to lose the Giants? I guess they could lose the Giants up there. Who knows? Maybe they could. I don't see it.
Well, we also didn't see a 2016 win over the Browns. We thought it was going to be a dominant performance. I looked at the game, to Leonard's point. Like I looked at the game and I did see a lot of positives. But with the head coach, no, I didn't like the behavior. And here's where it's really going to matter. We didn't like the behavior. National media didn't like it. He's the laughing stock of everybody today. How did the players respond to it? Because if the players rally behind their head coach and they start winning games, you're right, he's not going to get fired. But if the players have the same reaction to his sideline behavior, to the post-game bringing his kids up there, if they have that same reaction that we're all having and now they start to suffer because of it, yeah, then they won't win those games they should win and they will not make the playoffs. But who knows? Maybe this whole Nick Sirianni as the villain, maybe it bonds them. Maybe the players rally.
Us against the world?
Hell yeah.
It's possible. I mean, I don't like
the old Hoya paranoia.
Dog mentality.
So let's
fertilize.
Let's look at the schedule. At the Giants. I guess they could. What was the line on that game? You got a line on that game?
I think it's 4.
Eagles 4. All right, so they could lose it. I don't think they will. And at the Bengals. Now, what will the line of that game be? Well, that might be a pick 'em.
I think the Bengals will be favored.
You think so? I don't know.
I think they'll be favored.
I think it might be a pick 'em. And then the Jaguars on a night game.
Eagles have to be favored. It's a home
All right,
game.
so the next 3 games, what do you project at worst?
2-1.
Okay.
And you're right.
2-1 makes them 5-3.
And a 3-0 is possible.
And then they go to the Cowboys. Now, I think they could lose that game. So that would set them back a little bit. And then they get the Commanders at home. And then it's the Rams. I don't know. Can Dallas rally to win the division? Can win enough games? All right. Can the Commanders win enough games realistically?
They're
going to win the division. What are they going to? Are they an 11-win team?
And I want to look at their schedule.
Now, I know you just dismissed the Cowboys here. And on
no, I
today
just
of
said
all,
that.
No, I'm talking Bill.
Okay,
Dismissed them because
Okay.
he just said no. Well, on today of all days, I understand nobody really wants to hear the Cowboys side of the argument because it's just fun to laugh at them. But they are a game behind the Commanders, and we did see them get embarrassed last year and still be able to rally and win the division.
Yes, but my take on the Cowboys has been consistent. I mean, I have said from the summertime
I understand
that I didn't think they were going to be a good team this year, and they haven't done anything to start the season to change my mind that the Cowboys are miraculously going to turn into a good team. I think they got worse in the offseason. They have a lame duck coach. They rely on the running game, and they don't have good running backs. They lost offensive linemen. They lost their defensive coordinator. Like, there was a lot of reasons to believe that the Cowboys weren't going to be good this year, and they keep backing up that belief.
And if I'm in Dallas today, when we do the little Eagles aside, I'm saying, wow, look at that joke of a head coach they've got. I'm not really worried about what they're going to – if we figured it out here, we're going to be able to battle with them.
What's really interesting is that Sirianni now has to have another presser tomorrow, right?
Today.
Oh, today.
It's coming up at 3.
That's right, 3 o'clock. So what will he say today?
I'm the dumbest coach in the world.
In his evaluation of what the Heat has come down on him for what he said yesterday, what will he say today? And that'll provide us a good show tomorrow, I'm thinking.
It will. And I asked Tim McManus this earlier, why didn't Bob Lang, the head of PR for the Eagles, or someone else stop Sirianni from bringing the kids to the press conference? But listen today, because I guarantee you they've been in Sirianni's ear. They probably are in his ear right now, prepping him for this press conference at 3 o'clock. And what you are going to hear from Sirianni today is not going to be Sirianni. I mean, this is going to be the Eagles PR. The Eagles organization is not happy with the way they are being perceived right now. Sirianni's press conference will be, I don't want to call it all an act, but it will be a lot of an act. It'll be what they're telling him to say.
As compared to, it's always an act.
Well, I don't think it's an act. I think when he rambles, I think
yeah, but that's
he's not acting.
Yeah, but his whole shtick is a whole act.
But hold on, Mike. I just want to jump back because I pulled up the Commanders' schedule. They got an easier next 3 games than the Eagles do. Panthers, Bears, who actually have been better, Giants. Then they go Steelers, then Eagles. I mean, they could go 4-1 over their next 5. The Commanders may be the only threat in the NFC East.
It's going to be an entertaining game to watch. Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams.
Yeah, it's coming up in
weeks.
2 weeks.
All right, let's go to Phoenix. My man is on the lam in Phoenix. His name is Arthur. What's up, Arthur?
Yo, how's everything? I like that you take care of me with the Phoenix statement. I appreciate that, brother.
I know you're on the lam. I get it.
Now, listen,
Don't sit on a cactus. Go ahead.
Yo, listen. The Eagles, that whole division stinks. You complain about Nick. Hurts is no much better. You know what I mean? Why protect the both of them? Why not?
First of all, did you see the numbers for Hurts yesterday?
Yeah, like 2-something, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns.
You didn't see the quarterback.
No interceptions. Let me finish. Okay. Yeah, I seen all that. No, come on now. I may be drinking, but so what? So what? What's their season? Let me say this to you. That caller before me said it best. They win the division, and then what? Are they going to? Let me ask you this right now. I'm going to put your feet under the fire. You're a lawyer. You could take the Fifth Amendment, tough guy. You could answer the question, or you could seek counsel. Do the Eagles win the Super Bowl right now?
No, of course not. They're not a Super Bowl winning team. Nobody said they
Oh, I
were a
can't
Super Bowl winning team.
believe-
But then I got a question for you. Where does this hatred for Philadelphia sports come from with you?
Well, okay, let me say this. I used to live in Packer Park. Now you're going to get,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
And then the Eagles would get out. They would piss on my Cadillac and pee on my lawn. I hate them.
Eagle fans?
Yes.
So,
yes,
so
it
this is why you hate Philadelphia
Yeah.
sports?
Why
Because
would you do something like that?
you don't think that they do that in New York?
Didn't happen to my house in Brooklyn. I know what happened when I lived there.
Well,
I'm
guess
giving
what?
you facts,
The Giants didn't
and
play
you're-
in Brooklyn, nor did the Jets. So
That's
if you're
okay.
in the
It can
neighborhood of a stadium and people are drunk and they're coming out of a stadium, you know it's unsightly, but people are going to do that. Like, why are you shocked, and why would that make you hate all of Philadelphia sports because some idiot peed on your Cadillac?
Why would you do that, though? You got to be.
Well, I'm trying to get to I'm trying to help you here with a little psychological analysis. This is your psychological problem with Philadelphia sports?
Correct.
Correct. Wait, was that him or a drop?
Somebody peed on your Cadillac? What is you kidding me?
He's been holding a grudge for a long time with that.
Jesus.
You can't make this stuff up.
They used to complain about that all the time. Eagle fans coming out of there in the Packer Park area, peeing on the lawn and their bushes and the whole bit. You know, I don't think that's very couth, but I've known people that have done that before. I may have even taken a leak on a golf course.
Oh, that's
You know
different.
what I'm saying?
That's different. That's accepted.
Did you ever go in a neighborhood?
I don't think I have. I mean, maybe like in the woods, but I don't think I would pee on someone's house, no matter how drunk I was. But I mean,
sometimes you got to go behind the barn.
But you're going to
You know what
hate
I'm saying?
an entire sports city because of the 5 drunks who happened to pee at your house after a Eagles game. It's a little extreme.
I got news for you. Since we were talking about that, sometimes you keep a Wawa bottle in the car. I searched on my way down to the shore. I searched for a Wawa bottle and couldn't find one in my car.
Oh, and you got stuck in traffic. That's tough.
See, that's where it comes in handy.
Yeah, that I could see because you're not expecting to be stuck on the Schuylkill for 3 hours.
Correct. See what I mean?
You needed it.
I definitely needed it. All right. It is time for closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
You know, I can't stand a game that gives you such mixed emotions. You know, went into that game yesterday thinking, okay, the Eagles will win comfortably. Everything will be right. They're coming off a bye. They will have a plan. They're playing a bad team. They shouldn't have any problems with this game. And yet, at the end, they did have a good win. And there were plenty of good moments, especially with the quarterback who didn't turn it over. They made a couple of really clutch throws and a couple of really clutch catches by A.J. Brown on maybe balls that were semi-underthrown. But they started to roll in some areas. Now, unfortunately, for most of the game, it was kind of an offensive slog. And they went punt right out of the chute, and they still haven't scored in the first quarter. So I got to look at other things, like the defense and a kid like Cooper DeJean getting a start and playing well for the most part. And Quinyon Mitchell playing well. And them getting pressure on a really bad quarterback like Deshaun Watson and sacking him. But for most of the game, I was saying, is this a good team? And I hate that. I hate when I have those kind of mixed emotions because then I start doubting the overall worthiness of the team, and I also doubt the coaching staff, the head coach, but also other coordinators who were hired specifically to improve this team. But at the end of the game, the whole line has been blurred. And the line has been blurred because this immature coach tries to cause some problems with the fans who were booing him for a lot of the game, saying, fire Nick. And then he brings his kids as a human shield in the postgame press conference. And I got all discombobulated. I don't know where to go. It was a good win, and yet there's this. I don't understand it. So I don't understand what this team is right now. And I know it's easy to sit here and say, you guys complain about everything. You complain about the head coach doing this, doing that, doing this, and doing that. Well, That's part of our DNA, and it's part of the story here. So when I evaluate what the Eagles are, I go, is this coaching staff good enough, and is this head coach mature enough to be a leader of men? That is my main concern right now, because if he's not, and the Eagles don't win this division, and God forbid miss the playoffs, then what has to happen? A new coaching staff all over again with them trying to find a new shiny toy? I can't take it, Bill. I'm all upset today. I'm in a tizzy.
I'm right there with you too, Mike. I mean, as you know, I thought it was the right decision bringing this guy back. I've said that all summer. I've stuck to my guns on that to start the season. But you're right. Instead of sitting here looking at, hey, what were the positives of this game? Jalen Hurts didn't throw an interception for the first time in a while. No turnovers for the first time in a while. They did a lot of good things. Now, we're talking about the head coach's damn antics on the sidelines and in the post-game press conference. And it's frustrating. When you're the CEO coach and you are supposed to be the leader of men, you're right. Is this the right guy to lead this football team? And I'm, for the first time, really starting to have my doubts. And it's not good to be wrong. It's not good to be wrong. And I think I may have been wrong about the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, unfortunately.
All right. But, see, all is not lost, because the Eagles have some winnable games coming up. And next week, if they smoke the Giants up there at MetLife, then we're going to be seeing them in a different light. And this Sirianni hangover with what he did yesterday and how everybody's down on him, including, like, the national media is destroying this guy. Maybe he gets a breather from the fan base and from the national media, and maybe they right the ship with a dominant win against the Giants, in which case we have to deal with it week by week to see what this team is.
Well, we thought that dominant win was going to be yesterday, but you're not wrong. But, I mean, when you got a clown like Pat McAfee clowning your head coach, you know you got an issue.
The clown is clowning.
I mean, really, it doesn't get worse than that. They're clowning Nick Sirianni on that clown show.
Did he clown him with the tank shirt on?
I'm sure he did.
'Cause that's got to be the ultimate effect.
I'm sure he did. Well, hopefully Nick Sirianni will come out and impress us at the press conference coming up, and we'll talk about it tomorrow.
All right, so we have Monday Night Football tonight. You like anybody in this game?
I haven't really even...
You haven't looked at it?
I haven't even looked because I've been so upset about my cousin. By the way, Nick Sirianni is not my cousin. That was a joke that was made. People actually are coming at me saying, it explains a lot about your cousin.
Yes.
It was just a joke.
Not his cousin. They have the same shaved head.
But I'll go with the
They have
Bills
different
tonight.
perspectives. You want to take the Bills tonight?
What's the line?
Ooh, I love the other side of that game.
-1.5.
I think the Bills lose. Bills lose tonight. All right, we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about Sirianni. Everybody have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.